It's an historic day in Boston. After almost a century of anticipation, the Red Sox ring in the new season at Fenway as world champions. And making it all the sweeter, the Yankees are on hand to bear witness. Now their bitter rivalry resumes, and it's all available in stunning high definition. The loyalty of the Red Sox fans and the magnitude of their stars through the years is legendary. But so is Boston's legacy of disappointment, frustration, a fact of life, agony, and autumn ritual, until all of Boston believed a curse was at the bottom of it all. But the Red Sox of 2004 were idiots, or so they called themselves, and to them, the past was more than distant. It was dead and gone. In a long and bitter feud, fate had always favored the Yankees. But with 86 years, Boston's battle cry, the Red Sox repealed the law of nature, becoming the victors to a victimized New York.
Boston Red Sox have won the pennant.
With their new destiny in motion, a four-game sweep of St. Louis sealed their fate and set free their fans in a celebration for the ages.
After 86 years, the Boston Red Sox are the champions of the baseball world.
For the first time since 1919, opening day at Fenway is a home game for the world champions. Red Sox fans will welcome their team while the Yankees wait in the wings. On a gloriously clear sunny day in Boston, it's ESPN's day game as the Red Sox entertain the New York Yankees in the home opener at Fenway Park. An opener for the ages, box seats going for $1,000 on Yawkey Way. Everyone in New England wishing they could be here. That's because Fenway Park is the home of the world champions after the four-game Red Sox sweep of the St. Louis Cardinals. Boston's first world championship in 86 years touched off a wild celebration in New England. The trophy itself was carried to every corner of the region like the Stanley Cup. And even the baseball that made the last out, everybody wanted to see that. It was brought to Boston in a Brinks truck like some ancient relic. And today, the men whose names will live in legend receive their spectacular world championship rings. Legions of Boston fans thought they might never see this sight. The banner coming down for a 2004 world title. Now they know dreams really do come true. Hi, everybody. What a ceremony we have just witnessed here at Fenway Park in Boston. Dave O'Brien and Rick Sutcliffe with you. And so with everything going on, and this was one of the best ceremonies to honor a world championship you're ever going to see, let us not forget we have a baseball game to play, the Yankees and the Red Sox, and after what they did last year in October, that stunning comeback by Boston, I mean, that only heightened this rivalry, son.
And I don't think there's any question that this rivalry is a big part of the reason why baseball is more popular than ever. No question, the most popular New York Yankee is Derek Jeter. Did you see the movie Braveheart?
Yes, I remember very well. Mel Gibson, yeah.
No question. He played the character of William Wallace, and to me, Derek Jeter is the Braveheart of the New York Yankees. Whatever it takes to win, he will provide. We know how good that Derek Jeter has been in the past. 9 straight years he's been in the postseason. The scary part for the Red Sox is he's even better today.
Well, Jeter always seems to have a huge impact on this series, but nobody last October, and the Red Sox reversal of fortune had a bigger impact than David Ortiz did. The Red Sox slugger was the MVP of that series.
Well, I don't think anybody got a bigger ovation today than did the Big Papi. Nicknamed that by his teammates because of all of the big hits that he got last year. He was voted the designated hitter of the year for the second year in a row. A walk-off homer against the Anaheim Angels created an ALCS in which he was the MVP against the New York Yankees. A great World Series and off to a great start again this year.
The Red Sox-Yankees is always a special treat on its own merits, but we have not seen anything quite like today. The ceremony on the field has really been a remarkable experience, and we'll be going back to that throughout the afternoon. The hated rivals in town for the Boston Red Sox, but a great day at Fenway. The ceremonies are over, and we've got baseball coming your way next. The Yanks and the Sox in the Fenway Park home opener 2005.
ESPN ESPN's Day Game, brought to you by Lowe's, where you'll find all your home improvement needs. Lowe's, improving home improvement. Cialis. Cialis is here. Ask your doctor if a free sample of Cialis is right for you. XXX State of the Union, in theaters April 29th. And Net Zero Internet Access, only $9.95. Call 1-800-NET-ZERO or get it at netzero.com.
Certainly an historic day in Boston. The Red Sox finally had the baseball gods on their side last October. They have the weather gods on their side today. Brilliant day in New England. Sunshine, a little chilly. Temperatures in the mid to upper 40s. Rick Sutcliffe, Dave O'Brien with you as we get ready for the first pitch. Tim Wakefield, the knuckleballer, will throw it. Of course, Terry Francona has had all sorts of health problems in the past. He was hospitalized on Wednesday with chest pains, released on Friday. He is in the dugout today as we bring in Aaron Andrews. And Aaron, how's he feeling today?
Well, Dave, today he actually spoke with reporters for the very first time, telling them, you know, he feels great, but he knows he needs to take better care of himself. He was saying how hard it was being in the hospital, being away from his team, listening to it on the radio and also on television. He said there was no way he was missing today. It was funny because it's a who's who situation here at Fenway Park, but it seems like Red Sox Nation, the one person they wanted to see was the manager, Terry Francona. Dave?
Yes, I think a very heartfelt ovation for him. That's got to make him feel better. Look at the starting lineup. Maybe this won't, though, because the Yankees, as you know, can flat hit. Derek Jeter leads it off, A-Rod, and then Gary Sheffield, followed by Hideki Matsui. And last year, Matsui ate up the Red Sox pitching staff.
No question. I think he's the New York Yankee most of all that the Boston Red Sox pitching staff fears. 28 RBIs last year against Boston, including 10 in the postseason. Nicknamed Godzilla over in Japan with the 50 homers. He's headed in that direction now. 31 just last year.
Godzilla to swing against the right-hander Tim Wakefield, who gets the start in a Red Sox home opener for the first time in his 11-year career here.
Well, you and I were here when he stepped up in Game 3 of the ALCS and told Terry Francona, he said, you know what, I'll go out there and finish this ball game. It's out of control. He got booed by this crowd, but by him going out there, they saved enough guys in the bullpen to come back and win Game 5. We all know they went on and won the World Series. These fans let him know how much they appreciated him.
And from those days of October, I mean, the defense hasn't changed very much, but right there at shortstop, Edgar Renteria, ironically the last out of the 2004 World Series, then with the St. Louis Cardinals.
Well, they wanted to bring Veritek back. They got that done. He was a free agent, but this was also a guy that they keep as far as being important to this ball club. A couple of Gold Gloves in the past. He'll settle in the American League after this first month.
And the fans settle in. First one is knocked right back to Wakefield off the bat of Derek Jeter. One pitch and one out. And that's how we get underway on this beautiful day in Boston. It's exactly what the fans came to see. Derek Jeter making out. Although that doesn't happen a whole lot when he faces Boston.
You know, that pregame ceremony, partner, was so good. It was, I know they paid a lot of money to get a ticket here today, but it was almost worth the price of admission just to see what went on before the game started.
The sounds of the pregame ceremony, I thought, were amazing. You had that surprise unveiling of a huge length of the green monster 2004 championship banner. They draped that down over the smaller year-by-year titles that were won many, many years ago. A-Rod got booed lustily, as you might guess.
They booed the Yankee bat boy.
They actually did. Bobby Harrington, the Yankees' teenage bat boy, got booed big time. Mariano Rivera got a standing ovation from the Red Sox fans because everybody knows he's had troubles with Boston. A standing O. Rivera, very classy, laughed his way all through it, had a huge grin on his face. And a very classy ovation for Joe Torre, I thought, the Yankee skipper, as he was introduced to the crowd. It was after the ring ceremonies, obviously. It was fascinating to watch.
I thought right along with that, very classy on the part of Joe Torre and his ball club. For all of the introductions in the ring ceremony, every one of the Yankees was out there on the top step of that dugout applauding with respect for what Boston did just a year ago.
That comes from Joe Torre, no doubt. A-Rod, 269 at the moment with a homer and 3 runs batted in. Waves right through it, and down he goes. Wakefield strikes him out, and they're 2 away. Gary Sheffield on the way up.
Nobody really has very good numbers at all career-wise against Tim Wakefield. And I was talking to Don Mattingly before the game about that, and he said there's really no way to prepare for a knuckleball pitcher. It's not like you can go out and hire one to throw batting practice the day of that game, and it's just a difficult situation to hit when they throw strikes.
A difficult start for Sheffield, hitting just 200 at the moment with a homer and 6 runs batted in. Oftentimes you'll see switch hitters who may be right-handed hitters against, you know, lefties, that sort of thing. They don't really care which side of the plate they hit from when they face a knuckleballer. So if he's a right-hander like Tim Wakefield, you switch batter, you might bat right-handed against him because it doesn't make any difference. If that's your dominant side of the plate, he takes a strike.
The one guy that has had decent numbers against Wakefield is Tino Martinez. And I asked him before the game about that, and he said, "Sut, I really don't have him down. I'm not comfortable hitting off of him." But he said, "I look for a pitch up and out of the zone before I start my swing." Like on that last pitch there, if it starts out in the strike zone, I figured that by the time it gets to home plate, I'm not going to be able to do anything with that. In Wakefield's first start against the Yankees already this year, Tino homered on a pitch just like that.
Tino back with the Yankees as Sheffield spins away from an inside pitch, and the count moves to 3-2. Bases empty, 2 out. Yankees hitting for the first time. On deck, Hideki Matsui, but Wakefield trying to make it a 1-2-3 first. Then he misses outside and walks Gary Sheffield. So the Yankees have a base runner. And Matsui, who just feasted on Red Sox pitching last year and in the playoffs, at least for a time in the playoffs, comes up to hit now.
Well, he hasn't feasted on this guy, and you know, I like Matsui so much. I mean, what a great personality. You think about the big distraction that Hideki Arabu was when he first came over here. Matsui is just the opposite. Talking to him before the game, his English is much better than it was a year ago. I said, "What about the knuckleball guy?" He says, "I don't like."
I don't like.
I never saw one in Japan, he saw, and I don't like this one.
Matsui at .348 for the season. His numbers against Tim Wakefield. This is why he doesn't like 4 out of 29, although he does have 4 out of 21, although he does have the 1 homer. Still a very overlooked player is that one. Mirabelli is able to knock up the first base line. You know that Mirabelli usually catches Wakefield every opportunity. In fact, that doesn't mean that is an easy job. It puts a lot of stress on a catcher, especially when it's dancing. He's got all but 2 1/3 innings of Wakefield's.
You and I remember the 3 innings that Jason Varitek caught in that extra inning ball game. Inning 12, 13, and 14.
It was a nightmare for him.
It was all he could do to just get through the 3 outs without allowing a run to score via his pass ball.
Yeah, one pass ball after the next as it's filed away by Matsui. I mean, that has to be terrifying for a catcher who never ever catches a knuckleball guy, especially one that dances like Wakefield's, and in a playoff game.
Captain Jason Varitek.
Yes. We'll have more on that later. The Red Sox have not had many gentlemen wear the C on their game jersey in their history. He's the first since Jim Rice. Swung on and missed, strike 3. And Matsui still doesn't like facing Tim Wakefield. A walk, 1 man left, and the Red Sox, the world champion Sox, are coming up. Now the Red Sox waited 86 years to win another one of those, a World Series championship banner. And here come the Red Sox. Johnny Damon, Trot Nixon, followed by Manny Ramirez. Right now hitting just 200.
Yeah, he's struggling right now, no question about that. But when you look at his numbers over the last 7 straight seasons, his consistency has just been amazing.
David Ortiz, the DH after him. The Red Sox the last 2 years have led the majors in runs scored. Damon a big reason for that. And Johnny off to a pretty good start. He's hitting .333, no homers, 1 run batted in, and no haircut. Mike Mussina, no wins or losses yet. Gives up a high fly into right on the move. Sheffield to the alley, and it's going to drop in for a hit. It'll be a single for Damon. Sheffield, the way he took off after the ball, and the same is said of Bernie Williams. I think they thought they were going to make that play, and Mussina, thinks they should have.
I don't think there's any question they should have. Right now you start thinking about Carlos Beltran, and maybe the New York Yankees should have signed him. He would have made that play in center field. Mike Mussina, 211 and 119 in his career. Just 12 wins a year ago. Had some elbow problems during the middle of the season, but finished the year real strong for the Yankees.
Well, in the past, he has pitched very, very well here at Fenway. It's been one of his favorite parks, but he's winless in his last 5 outings here in Boston. Here's Trot Nixon hitting 188. Some shadows are starting to move toward home plate because of the high press box here at Fenway Park. That could benefit Mike Mussina in a big way very soon.
No question. They're going to have about another full inning to try to get some offense going, and then they're going to take about 3 innings off when those shadows get towards the pitcher.
Outside on Nixon. Plenty of shadows here for this 3 o'clock first pitch at Fenway Park. Delayed somewhat because of the ring ceremony.
Oh, it's just absolutely beautiful. Snow was forecast, rain. It's a little bit breezy right now, but what a day.
Snow is really a dirty word in New England after the winter these folks have had. Cut on a miss. Great change of pace pitch there. And Nixon way out in front. It's 1-2.
Take a look here at the K zone. Watch the late movement away on this off-speed pitch. You've got 8 pitches you have to have in the back of your mind with Mike Mussina. And the best part for him is the fact that, partner, he's got command of all 8 of those pitches.
Trot Nixon at the bat. Damon back in at first.
3 different fastballs, 3 different curveballs, a knuckle curve, then a 1-knuckle curve, and then the basic slider. He had a changeup throughout the first 10 years of his career, and in the last couple of years, he's throwing a split-finger fastball along with that.
Posada putting down the signs. Trot Nixon turning 31 years old today. Swinging a drive center field. Williams backing up, and the wind will knock that down. As Sutton mentioned, it is a windy day and chilly. 1 man out. Manny Ramirez coming up defensively now for the Yankees, and in the outfield it's Matsui, Williams, and Sheffield. Williams and Sheffield have already had 1 issue.
Yeah, but no issues at that shortstop position. Last year, Derek Jeter won his first Gold Glove, and in fact, it's the first Gold Glove in the history of the New York Yankees at the shortstop position.
Isn't that amazing?
Think of Phil Rizzuto and Tony Kubek, and I know I'm not supposed to say this name in this ballpark, but even Bucky Dent.
Ooh, chills down the spine. This actually, after the World Championship, they're letting it go, or something close to that. I don't think he's just Bucky Dent now. He's not Bucky bleeping Dent any longer. Here's Manning. 5 out of 25 without a home run. Maybe saving his best swings for the home opener and the ring ceremony day here at Fenway. He has never really liked facing Mussina. Just 208 lifetime. He is 16 for 77.
You know, nobody wanted to use it as a mistake. I mean, but it has been a long time since the Boston Red Sox have been at home. They won the 2 games in St. Louis for the World Series. It was a short winter, a lot of things going on. Then they go to spring training in Florida. Then they go to Arizona. Then they go to New York. Then they go to Toronto. I mean, everybody was talking about how good it was to get home last night.
Down low on Ramirez. David Ortiz coming up next. Red Sox right now in the basement of the American League East, as you see, 2-4 with Toronto up top. That's a new addition to the scoreboard out there.
I don't think they expected it to stack up that way when they first put that thing up there, but you know, they faced the Yankees to begin with, and then they had Roy Halladay and Lilly waiting on them in Toronto. It's been a tough start.
The Red Sox are finally home. We talked about the sounds during the pregame ceremony and how special they were, just listening to the ring presentation and the banners going up. The sound of James Taylor's voice singing America the Beautiful, while American military service people who were home from Iraq and Afghanistan, one in a wheelchair, crossed the outfield grass with the title rings the players would receive.
I'm telling you, that was the best part to me. With all that's going on in the world today, to think about all of the places that those guys have been and what they've done, and you know, just how special it had to be for them to walk out across the field here at Fenway. Every one of the players of the Red Sox walked up to shake their hands, and you know that if the Yankees could have come out of the visiting dugout, they would have done the same thing.
Damon at first base, 1 out, no score first inning. The shadows creeping up close now on top of home plate. as Damon dives back in. And how about the roars that went up when Terry Francona and Derek Lowe, now a Dodger, who has come home to Fenway Park to collect his ring. Dave Roberts, who had a huge stolen base against the Yankees. Curt Schilling. And Johnny Pesky, 64 years in the Red Sox organization. Tears in his eyes, received a World Series ring today. Those sounds filling up Fenway Park, and it made the hairs in the back of your neck stand up here on Yawkey Way. Johnny Pesky's pole down the right field line.
Johnny saying before the game he's 85 years of age. He said this was the day that he has been holding on for. He finally got it.
3-2. Mussina fires. Damon takes off, and it's pop foul out of play.
Mussina's always done an outstanding job controlling the stolen base. Posada's not one of your better throwers. Damon, one of your better runners, but he's just so intelligent out there. Mussina graduated from Stanford in less than 4 years. He varies his delivery to home plate. He's quick and accurate with his pickoff throws to first base. Very, very difficult to run.
As Damon's stolen base total last year reflects, the Red Sox don't run very much, but he's taking off again. Swung on and missed strike 3. The throw, the tag, he's in there with a stolen base. Although Manny strikes out, Damon is into scoring position.
So difficult for a pitcher on the mound with a great hitter like Manny Ramirez at home plate to make a good pitch and yet keep the base runner from getting a good jump. You saw Damon there. Mussina had already gotten the front foot down before he took off. A good throw from Posada there, and he could have had Johnny Damon out. The ball actually beat him there, but the tag did not.
So that'll bring up Ortiz with a base open. And the last time in October anyway that the Yankees got a look at David Ortiz, he was tearing the cover off the ball and winning the American League Championship Series MVP against the Yankees, hitting .387 in the 7 games, 3 homers, 11 runs batted in, and 1 giant homer after another.
The first guy David Ortiz talks about when he talks about how things turned around for him here in Boston is the hitting coach Ron Jackson.
1-0 pitch outside.
Papa Jack noticed something in his swing as we take a look at Ronnie there. His back arm, talking about David Ortiz, was just too tense. Papa Jack said a grown man could stand on that arm when he first got here. He got him to relax that back arm, and because of it, he can get to that fastball in quicker than he once did.
2-0. He checks his swing, and it's on the outside corner, and Ortiz not quite sure. A called strike. A mild disagreement from the likable Ortiz.
Well, there's a base open, and David's not going to get anything in the heart of the plate by design. You can see the late movement there. Also fooled the home plate umpire.
About to say late movement out of the strike zone. Damon at second, 2 out. Now 3-1.
No way you can look fastball here. Kevin Millar on the on-deck circle. A lot of big hits, a lot of clutch hits, but not nearly as many as the man at home plate. Ortiz right now needs to expand the strike zone. Look a little bit in off the plate, maybe look a little bit up, or look something soft away if you want to swing the bat. Otherwise, he's trying to walk.
Sox fans here packing Fenway Park. The game long since sold out. Hoping for another dramatic moment out of David Ortiz. There are fans who waited for 3 days outside of Fenway with the hopes of getting a ticket for today's game, for this ring ceremony and the championship banner presentation.
How about the job that Larry Lucchino, Mike D, his crew did a year ago? The first time in the history of Fenway, every single game was sold out.
The 3-1. High fly, shallow left coming on Matsui. Now makes a move toward the line and makes the catch for out number 3. No runs, a hit, a man left, and after an inning, the Sox and Yankees tied up 0-0. We talked about the fact that some Sox fans were waiting 3 days for tickets to this game. Some were waiting a lifetime for the championship that finally came in 2004. Thank you signs all over Fenway Park as Wakefield goes back to work against the Yankees, and Tino Martinez here in a scoreless second inning.
He just didn't look right in a Cardinal or last year a Tampa Bay uniform, did he?
No. No, he's delighted to be back home. Got a huge ovation on opening night. He said, that blows my mind the way people keep treating me in New York.
Well, he earned that. 4 World Championship titles in 5 years.
Returning to play first base and pushing Jason Giambi into a full-time DH role. Giambi hitting 7th. And swung on and fouled away.
This is what happened in Wakefield's last start. Take a look at Tino Martinez. Look at where the ball started. I mean, that's what he was saying. He said, look, I don't feel comfortable hitting off Wakefield. Nobody does. As Mattingly said, no way to prepare. But he said, I look for a ball up and out of the zone to start my swing.
That one fouled back by Martinez. Posada next, and then Giambi due up in the inning.
Almost like if it starts high, you let it fly. If it starts low,
let it go.
Let it go.
Martinez has actually handled Wakefield quite well at .325 with 3 homers. Not many have. In fact, both of today's starting pitchers, Mike Mussina the other, had great success against their fellow opponent. Damon coming in, and Johnny Damon's got it. Out number 1 here in the second. Tim Wakefield getting the start here in the home opener. You know that means a tremendous amount to him. The man who gave up the home run to Aaron Boone 2 years ago in the American League Championship Series, then played an instrumental role in Boston's comeback in the 2004 League Championship Series. Has 114 wins with the Red Sox. He's number 8 on their all-time list.
You know, he can move to number 3 on that all-time list very easily with just 10 victories this year. Already 3rd all-time in Red Sox history as far as number of innings pitched. Just needs 1 win to tie Bob Stanley with 115 wins for 7th on that list. He's been around a while.
And Fenway Park is conspiring to help him. As you predicted, Sut, an inning ago, those shadows have moved across home plate. And if you're Jorge Posada, you're thinking, what do I have to do to get a hit? I mean, it's tough enough facing a knuckleballer, but now the shadows are in the way. It's windy, it's cold. I mean, it's beautiful in every other way. Sunshine, blue sky today, but not a great day to hit.
I think it's only fair in this ballpark that the wind do something. I mean, when it's normal, it's a great place to hit.
Kevin Millar gobbles up the ground ball, and there are 2 down in the Yankee second. Giambi coming up next.
Talked about the Red Sox struggles, just 2 wins in the first 6 games of the year. A lot of that is the fact that offensively they don't usually get going until they get back home. Several of them with a lot better numbers here than anywhere else.
Giambi to dig in. And the boos kind of making their way in waves around Fenway Park for Giambi.
You know, I walked in with him before the game. We got out of the car at the same time. And I'm telling you, he looks great. I mean, it's almost like there's a clearness in his eyes of relief. You know, like, all right, I've got it off my chest. Now I can go back to doing, you know, what I'm paid to do, what I want to do, what I love to do, what I grew up doing, which is playing baseball. Signed a lot of autographs before the games. Don Mattingly again saying the fans were great to Giambi in spring training.
The Yankee fans were. He is not going to have that same kind of reception, and he knows it, in every other ballpark, and most especially Fenway Park. But the Red Sox have certainly, the Yankees have certainly supported him in a major way. Lots of big numbers for Giambi when he was frankly bigger. 37 homers, 120 RBIs, an average season from 98 to 03. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, and the base is empty here. Swing and a miss, and he got him. Snuck that one by him. And Giambi strikes out. 2nd K today for Tim Wakefield. He is sharp in the early going, and the shadows are helping him here at Fenway Park. Well, the Sox fans are spicy today. I'll take Pedro's ring. Pedro Martinez, a notable absentee from today's ring ceremony from the 2004 championship club. Now a New York Met off to a brilliant start here in 2005. Kevin Millar takes outside ball 1. Of course, Pedro, a sour exit, and it seemed to get progressively more sour through spring training, and then when the regular season got underway this year, Sut, as he had some comments about the Red Sox and that they could keep their ring essentially, because he felt disrespected by the front office of this organization and was not here today. Although I think that's a giant shame that Pedro was not here. Whoever is to blame for that, Pedro Martinez was a phenomenal ace for this organization. And he was a guy who won a World Series game for them last year. They don't go to the World Series without Pedro, perhaps. A-Rod with a bobble throws across the diamond in time to get Millar for out number 1. And the fact that Pedro wasn't here was it was sad.
I agree with you. I don't think there's any question that he could have been here if he wanted to be. I think he's still a little bit upset over what happened. He wanted to come back here, and he didn't feel like the contract that he was offered was up to his standards, what he deserved. You look at the numbers and what he did for the Boston Red Sox. I mean, if you had to win a game right now, you know, a lot of people would be a coin toss between guys like Randy Johnson, Curt Schilling, Pedro Martinez. But I agree with that. I mean, it would have really been a nice gesture if he could have made it back here. Said Derek Lowe made it. Dave Roberts, who's with the Padres, he was able to get back.
Of course, they did leave under very different circumstances than Pedro's departure, because it was far more contentious. Renteria just barely got the bat on it. He's out at first base. Check swing, and Edgar Renteria is out. So there are 2 men down. Pedro with 21 strikeouts in his first couple of starts with the New York Mets. But is it your understanding the Red Sox made every conceivable effort to get him here? Did they roll out the red carpet and say, hey, let's put it all behind us, bygones be bygones, you were a great pitcher for us, come on back?
I don't know that all of that was said. I don't know about the bygones, but they definitely wanted him to come back. They'd love for the fans to have seen him again, for him to come out, but you know, he wasn't able to do that. And you know, Pedro's has always kind of done things the way Pedro wanted to do them. And you know, the bottom line is what he does every 5th day is still really, really special. And there's some questions, right? I love the media here and the fans here in Boston. I mean, they played 6 games, and they're already going, oh, our pitching stinks. You know, what are we going to do? Well, Curt Schilling hasn't started a game yet. You got a chance to get Wade and Miller back. Matt Clement, I think, is going to have a terrific year. Their pitching's going to be fine. They've already forgotten what a slow start they got off to last year when they won it all.
Pedro Martinez, 15 innings pitched for the Mets, 21 strikeouts. Miller gets hit by the pitch, and he will take a base. Hit batsman, of course, nothing new in this series.
Jason Giambi's already been hit 3 times this year. Twice he got hit by David Wells, who, like Mike Mussina, has outstanding control. It's going to be more difficult today for both of these pitchers. You're going to see them blowing on their hand a lot, trying to keep that grip, keep a little moisture in their hands so that they can locate off-speed pitches like the last one.
Look at this, Hood. You realize last year's Red Sox-Yankees series saw 33 hit batsmen. Not only the most in any series in the live ball era between 2 teams, but the highest by far. And with Jeter drilled twice last week, you mentioned Giambi as well, the number could well go up in 2005.
Well, the Red Sox had the top 3 guys as far as pitchers and hit batsmen are concerned in the American League a year ago. Bronson Arroyo led the league. And you had, of course, Pedro. He's always among the league leaders, and then Wakefield.
Here's Doug Mirabelli with a swing and a high fly ball head of the green monster. That's deep. It's up there. It is gone. A 2-run homer from Mirabelli. It sounded gone at the crack of the bat, and the Sox fans says it has a nice ring to it.
Well, he combined a year ago with Jason Varitek to have an OPS, which is on base percentage and slugging percentage combined, of .883. That was tops in all of baseball. He doesn't get to play that often, but when he does, every now and then he runs into one.
So the Red Sox jump out in front 2-0. Mirabelli, the backup catcher, and Tim Wakefield's guy with 9 home runs last season, just did his first of this year. So that'll bring up Bellhorn as he takes up high. Bellhorn at 273 without a homer yet. And it seemed like throughout the league championship against the Yankees last October, he was without a hit for the longest time. Just had a a dismal time of it against the Yankee staff until the very end of that series. The 1-1 count on a miss.
Well, and he was even worse against the Anaheim Angels in a division series where he hit .091, 3 for 21 until he hit that home run in Game 6. And as you can see, he homered again in Game 7, and he also homered in Game 1 against the St. Louis Cardinals in the World Series.
That's in there for strike 3, and the side is retired. 2 Ks today for Mussina, but he gives up a 2-run homer to Doug Mirabelli, and the Red Sox are on the scoreboard 2-0.
ESPN's Day Game, brought to you by Briggs & Stratton, the largest manufacturer of pressure washers in America, and Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge.
As Big David Ortiz getting his World Series championship ring from John Henry and company. Red Sox ownership underway here in the 3rd inning. 2-0 Boston. Bernie Williams and then Tony Womack and Derek Jeter to hit in this inning, and we're going to have more on the championship ring of David Ortiz in just a moment. We're going to give you a look at the jewelry that the Red Sox were awarded today. Man, did they do a fantastic job on those, but you know, they had almost 100 years to come up with a design, and I think they nailed it. They did a fantastic job on it, and Aaron will show it off in a moment. Bernie Williams off to a slow start, hitting a .118 coming in, no homers and an RBI, and now 36 years old. Maybe age starting to catch up on Bernie. He is hitting 8th in Joe Torre's lineup.
Always been a heart of the order guy for these New York Yankees. Always been a terrific player for him. You know, I think about Bernie Williams. You know, he never had as much speed as the next guy. He never had as much power. But when you stop and think about the combination and how he was just able to put all of it together, well, he's been a terrific player for a long time. Been with these Yankees since he signed as a 16-year-old kid.
Long time ago, and the Yankees really don't have another option out there in center field. At least not many of them. So although Bernie is dropped in the order, he is still in the lineup. Did not get to a fly ball in the alley earlier as he pops this one up. And there's Mirabelli right in front of home plate to make the catch for the out. We're talking about, raving about those Red Sox championship rings. Let's go down and give you a peek. Here's Aaron Andrews.
Well, David Ortiz definitely kind enough to hand over to me. Here it is, guys, the Big Pappy's rings. Of course, this is what he looked like when he received it. Should have gotten a manicure for this. The side of it says the greatest comeback in history. We'll catch some of the diamond action.
Wow.
The other side, of course, Ortiz is his last name, his number. Cool part, the inscription inside, of course. 86 years has the date they won it all, 10/27/04. I asked the Big Pappy, when are you going to wear this? And he said, I'll bling it sometimes. Guys.
Oh, you can do a lot of that with that ring. Boy, that is fantastic. That has to be the biggest ring of any of the Red Sox.
I would say so, and that's honestly my first look at them. Boy, they really did. I love the red bead that's in there, the diamonds kind of in the baseball field.
Heck, I'll take the box. That's gorgeous as well. And you know, I think a couple of years ago, you know, when the Marlins won their championship ring, it was a little bit garish, and people reacted to that not all that well. Wakefield will drop the ball, but in foul territory. Got his glove on it, but in foul territory. The wind really pushed that back across the first base line, and Wakefield could not get the out.
Well, this is why they tell the pitcher most of the time to get out of the way. A routine play, no question. 90% of the time, 90% of the fans here in the ballpark could have caught that ball, but did not. You know, it had to be tough for Edgar Renteria watching that ceremony as these Red Sox got their World Series ring. Of course, last year he was a member of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Made the last out in the World Series. The ground ball back to Keith Falk.
Talking to him about that before the game, and you know, he said, I'm happy for him. You know, he said they deserved it. It's easier for him to say that knowing that he has one. Do you remember the last at bat? I'm sure you do, partner. You were there.
Yeah, Florida Marlins against Cleveland.
The outcome was a little different.
Yep, he had the game-winning base hit in extra innings. That one spanked into right, but Nixon was playing shallow anyway, and he makes the catch. Out number 2. It's update time. A lot of baseball daytime. Let's go to the studio and Dave Rebson and Steve Phillips.
Thank you, Dave. Mets home opener against the Stros. Kaz Matsui, a little small ball here, Steve.
Well, Willie Randolph knows they're not going to outslug anybody. They're going to have to play small ball and execute when they do it.
On top 3-2 right now. Top of the 8th, looking for their second straight win, Dave.
Thank you, boys. Derek Jeter 0 for 1 today climbs in. He is grounded back to the pitcher. Jeter has hit safely in all 6 Yankee games, so he's sporting a .417 average. Derek, X-rays are negative Jeter. He's really become the bloody soldier of this rivalry. Is coming back from getting beaned in the Red Sox series last week in New York. He's been hit by a couple of pitches already. Par for the course for him. Of course, Jeter drilled on a right hand. You remember in 2003 in a July series against the Red Sox. A lot of people thought he had broken his hand, but he was okay. And of course, on July 1st, 2004, the play that became the catch. Jeter chasing Trot Nixon's pop up in the 12th inning into the stands at Yankee Stadium. One of the great catches you will ever see. Although he paid a price for that. Another trip to Columbia Presbyterian Hospital for the Yankee captain.
Take a look at the K zone here. Derek Jeter showing some patience here. Wakefield just catching the top of that zone, and as usual, Mirabelli catching the baseball.
Foul tipped as he tried to check his swing. And a count 1 ball and 2 strikes on Jeter.
I think one thing that might keep Derek Jeter from getting drilled as much as he had in the past with these Red Sox, you mentioned 7 times in the last 3 years. The guy over there wearing number 41 in that Yankee dugout this year named Randy Johnson. He's been known to retaliate and then some.
A deterrent. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Jeter.
That's a key right there, that last pitch. There's Randy Johnson. Tino Martinez talking about if it starts out in the strike zone to let it go. Derek Jeter was able to do that on that last pitch, even in the count at 2-2.
2-2 on the inside corner for strike 3.
Crossed him up, threw a fastball. Was not the knuckleball.
Jeter shaking his head, walking away. More from the pregame ceremony when we come back to Fenway. Well, a stunning day at Fenway Park, and in the pregame ceremonies, the World Series banner was draped down from 2004 over some previous world titles. Fans waiting 86 years to celebrate that sight. The trophy being brought to the home plate area by some servicemen and women. And Terry Francona just out of the hospital getting his World Series ring. Curt Schilling, the great hero from an amazing October, along with David Ortiz, got a huge ovation. And the Yankees were watching from their dugout. Very classy gesture as the Red Sox said hello to the fans and congratulated them. And Carl Yastrzemski was on hand, the Red Sox number 8, along with Johnny Pesky, to get that banner up against the Green Monster. And how about Teddy Bruschi, Bobby Orr, and Bill Russell throwing out the first pitch today. Champions in New England legend from the Patriots, Bruins, and Celtics. What a ceremony that was. I've never seen one better.
Absolutely loved how they draped that banner out there over the Green Monster.
Nobody expected that as Johnny Damon takes a strike in the outside corner.
They had all those little flags going down with the championships of the past, and they had a spot down there in the corner out in center field. You thought there'd be another one just like that. Wrong.
Little change up there. Swing, fly to right. Sheffield gets a good long look at it and has it. That sun's going to be tough today. 1 man out. More baseball coming up on Wednesday, part of a doubleheader. We started off here at Fenway Park at 7 o'clock Eastern, the Yankees and the Red Sox. And then at 10 o'clock Eastern, the San Francisco Giants against the Los Angeles Dodgers. It's practically rivalry week here during the baseball season. Wednesday Night Baseball built by the Home Depot.
Just keeps getting better, too. You're going to have Curt Schilling. You're going to have Randy Johnson pitching before this series is over with against opposing teams, not against each other.
Trot Nixon looks at a strike from Mike Mussina.
Everybody was hoping for that matchup on opening night we had on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. Schilling was not able to get back in time, but he reports that all went well in his last start. He pitched for AAA Pawtucket. He is ready to go.
Well, there's been a lot of discussion here in Boston about just how ready he will be, because he got absolutely shelled in that minor league rehab stint the other day for Pawtucket.
That happens a lot, when guys go down to get the, sure, I mean, pride does take over. You're not going down there to give up runs, but you are going down there to work on things. And every inning you want to go out there and throw a get-over curveball. You want to go out there and try to throw a change-up for a strike when you're behind in the count. You try to work on commanding your fastball. It's like if he's throwing a fastball away and he didn't get it there, he's going to come right back with that fastball there. He's not going to go to something else trying to get the out. He's trying to get himself ready to win at the big league level.
And, you know, they may be minor league kids, but they're trying to win major league jobs down the road. You're talking about, you know, good young hitters. And Schilling knows absolutely nothing about them. And you and I both know what a prep guy he is and how he relies on scouting reports and hitters' weaknesses to be at his best. And the other thing you have to factor in, it's the Yankees and Red Sox at Fenway Park. That's the next stop for him. You know he's going to ratchet it up quite a bit. 3 balls and a strike on Nixon. He got jammed on that one. Look back at Curt Schilling in his minor league rehab stint. He got tattooed.
Well, that first pitch fastball, that's something that he does a lot even at the big league level. But he's not going to normally throw it belt high. Just take a look at the command. I mean, there's a little cut fastball, inner half of the plate. Not in the location that Curt Schilling knows that he has to get, or he probably will get in his next stop.
Womack can't reach it. It's into center field for a flare single, and Trot Nixon is aboard with 1 out. Red Sox ahead here 2-0 with Manny Ramirez about to hit. Look at those numbers now for Curt Schilling. Not what they expected. 6 innings. He gave up 11 hits and 7 earned. Although they didn't walk anybody.
Okay, and it said Pawtucket across his chest too. All right, let's just wait till it says Red Sox, and that 92 miles an hour will be closer to 95, 96. No walks, a strikeout per inning. I mean, that's the key right there. If he was walking people and wasn't able to finish anybody off, then you'd probably have to send him back down.
Ramirez 0 for 1, struck out in the first inning. 1 out and a runner at first base as he backs away for ball 1. Just saw Trot Nixon flare that single. Of course, during the offseason, the rivalry just continued to heat up between particularly Alex Rodriguez, the Yankee third baseman, and a whole slew of Red Sox players, Trot Nixon among them. That was after A-Rod made that comment about his workout schedule. He said, I know there are 700 other players who are sleeping in every morning. Either that or they're taking their kids to school, but there's no way they're going to be running the stairs or doing what I'm doing. Well, a lot of the Red Sox took umbrage at that, including Trot Nixon. He said he's doing all this while 600 players are still in bed. I said, I'm not a deadbeat dad. I might be taking my kids to school. I work out for 3 hours a day in the weight room. And he went on and on and on and took a bunch of shots back at A-Rod. And later, Trot Nixon apologized for allowing himself to be pulled into that fray, which was pretty nasty in the newspapers.
I think A-Rod's learning that they take quotes a little different in New York than they did in Seattle and maybe even with the Texas Rangers. You've got to be careful with what you say.
In there for a strike on Manny. Nixon said he's done some great things, but when people ask me about the Yankees, I tell them about Jeter and Bernie Williams and Posada. I don't tell them about A-Rod. It was spicy. Inside under the elbow, almost hit Manny Ramirez, and he's on with a walk. Runners at first and second. You go back to that, I think, season-changing brawl when A-Rod was hit by Bronson Arroyo, and then Veritek stepped out, and then the fisticuffs ensued.
Jason Veritek telling us the very next day that he said he thought Alex Rodriguez was trying to intimidate his young pitcher, and he said it's my job to keep that from happening. And when you do something like that every now and then, they put a little C on your chest that following year, which stands for captain for Jason Veritek.
Jason Veritek was so taken up in the moment and realized the value of what happened after that in lighting a fire under the Red Sox that he got a still photograph of that moment when he pushes his glove right into A-Rod's face, and that serves as his screensaver for his laptop computer.
You know, he also got his face, that being Jason Veritek, on the cover of our own ESPN the magazine in this week's issue. How about the brain behind the idiots right there, huh? I'm telling you, it's an outstanding article written on Veritek and how important he has been to this club, what he means to the starting rotation. He considers himself part of the starting rotation, part of the pitching staff first, part of the lineup second.
Inside on Ortiz, and the count moves to 3-0. One man out. Mussina pitching himself into some difficulty here. A single and a walk, and now he's behind a very dangerous hitter.
Jason Veritek, number 33. Also, as you mentioned, Trot Nixon's birthday. Jason Veritek, 33 years of age today.
Let's see what Ortiz does here. He's taking all the way, and it's outside for ball 4. Back-to-back walks. The bases are filled up here at Fenway Park. Let's go to the studio and Dave Revson.
Thank you, Dave. Here with Steve Phillips as well. Rangers and Angels. Hank Blaylock going deep off Jared Washburn here.
Well, they didn't get Carlos Delgado this offseason. They need Blaylock to step up and give him production because they need more offense.
Well, Blaylock's been doing just that. You see his numbers over the last 2 games. Rangers on top in this one, 6-3, Dave.
All right, Dave, thank you very much. Mel Stottlemyre out to the hill here to find out what is up with Mike Mussina, as he has walked 2 in the inning, and they're all filled up for Kevin Millar.
Well, you know that something's wrong when Mike Mussina walks somebody. A lot like Kurt Schilling, one of the league leaders every year, and fewest walks per 9 innings. If you're going to walk somebody, though, on the Boston Red Sox, it's normally going to be the last 2 guys that he walked. Manny Ramirez, David Ortiz. I mean, that is the dynamic duo here in Boston.
Well, Kevin Millar could really use something in a positive way, because he is 0 for 1 today, 0 for his last 9. He had some big moments against the Yankees. You see 3 grand slams in his career, but against the Yankees, he had a 3-homer game last season. Taking aim at that green monster. He loves to hit off that thing, and the first pitch is down low for ball 1.
Good pull guy. 18 homers a year ago from Millar, 12 of them right here in this ballpark.
Nixon, Ramirez, and Ortiz on the bases. Millar rolled out to the third baseman, A-Rod, his first time up. You've seen it from the set. Hits the outside corner, and it's 1-1. Mike 10-6 in his career at Fenway with an ERA of 3.19, and that includes a near perfect game a few seasons ago here.
17 career wins against the Boston Red Sox. That's the most of any active pitcher for Mike Mussina.
The right-hander already behind 2-0 on a Mirabelli home run. Lined up the middle and a base hit. That chases in Nixon. Ramirez rounding third. He will score without a throw. Millar with a 2-run single to make it 4-0.
That's just an outstanding job of hitting there. It was an off-speed pitch down in the zone. Mussina trying to get Millar to pull that pitch. But take a look. There's K-zone there. Even though that ball is on the inner half of the plate, take a look at how he stays inside of that pitch. He was not going to pull it to third base or shortstop. He wanted to go back up the middle. He went right back through the gap created by Derek Jeter and Tony Womack. 2 more runs for Boston.
First and second. Only 1 man out. 2 runs in. As Millar gets off the schneid there. Now has 5 RBIs. And here's another member of the Red Sox who wants some good things to happen. Edgar Renteria, pretty nervous before today's game because it's his first home stint here at Fenway. And he got off to kind of a rocky start, especially defensively. His first couple of games with Boston. And the talk shows and the newspapers were really humming here in Beantown about him getting off to a slow start. That is inside for ball. Orlando Cabrera was a popular shortstop here.
They're going to love this guy. Do not worry about your shortstop here, Boston Red Sox fan. It's going to take him, as Terry Francona said before the game, about a month to get settled in. You got a new league to learn. You got new teammates. He not only has to deal with new opposing pitchers, but he's got to learn where to position himself with his pitching staff. So there's a lot going on for Edgar Renteria. But Dave, you and I, you've seen him more than I have. I mean, day in, day out, this guy is a great clutch player.
He is a tremendous player. He's a Gold Glover who can get you 200 hits a year and hit with power. But he's trying to make some new friends here in Boston. Of course, all he has to do is win 5 or 6 batting titles, win them the way Nomar won them, and he'll be fine at that position. In there for a strike. And that was another one. And you explained it. Nomar Garciaparra is a position player, so couldn't be here today. But another one that, by his absence, it was very obvious that there was a little sadness there. Garciaparra and Pedro Martinez, in particular, not part of the ring ceremony today. Red Sox greats throughout their careers. Here's the 3-1. Swinging a drive down the left field line, but he hooked it. Not far from where Carlton Fisk in 1975 hit, I think, the most famous World Series home run of all time. Renteria against the Red Sox in the World Series was pretty impressive, although only 4 games as Boston swept. You talk about guys like Carlton Fisk and Roger Clemens and Garciaparra and Martinez leaving on a sour note. However, they left Boston. Line drive caught by Jeter, and a flip over to Womack doubles up the runner. But the Red Sox load them up and get 2, and they have doubled their lead. It is now 4-0 Boston at the end of 3.
Dave Reps and Steve Phillips in our Sports Center in-game studios. Houston back on top of the Mets. Jose Vizcaíno, the ground rule double here.
Pinch hit double. It's his second RBI double in his last 2 at-bats. This former Met is now a Met killer.
Mets batting bottom 8, down 4-3.
A-Rod swinging away. He struck out in the first inning, and he is behind 0-1 to Tim Wakefield here as we get the 4th inning started, and 4 is the number. 4 runs on 4 hits for Boston so far. That one right by Mirabelli, the catcher. Boy, you see a lot of that with knuckleballers. Fans at home thinking, what's up with the guy behind the plate? You know, he's boxing things. And
he's not throwing very hard.
This guy's just floating it up there. How come you can't catch? You're just playing catch, right?
I wouldn't even play catch with Charlie Huff when I was teammates with him. It's just you're taking your life in your own hands doing that.
A-Rod with a base hit to right field. Gary Sheffield coming up next. Aaron Andrews standing by with a very special guest. For my money, the greatest hockey player who ever lived, the great Bobby Orr.
You've got my vote on that as well. Obviously a part of that very emotional ceremony out there. Bobby, what was it like?
First of all, it was a big thrill for me to be here, and I was honored that they invited me, and it was great down there. I mean, Fenway is special, certainly a special team, and again, to be invited was very, very nice.
Did you get caught up in the emotion of all last year?
You can't help but to get caught up in it. It's you know, it was a team that just kept battling. You know, I think we all would have bet our homes that they were going to beat the Yankees, and to come back the way they did was really something. And yes, anybody that's a Red Sox fan had to get caught up in it. Yes.
And you came standing screaming?
I came to a couple games. Yes, it was great fun.
All right, Bobby, of course we have to put you on the spot. A lot of people here baseball fans, but in Boston a lot of people hockey fans. Will we see hockey next year?
We will see hockey this year. Yes, this coming year. The last week the talks have been a lot better, I hear, as you've heard.
Right.
But I just can't believe that, you know, both sides be so silly as to not play next September. That's, I mean, we are in a dark hole right now, and we've got to get back on the ice, and I just can't believe that they can't come to a fair agreement.
Well, that's great news. Thank you so much. It's an honor.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Guys.
Alex Rodriguez with a stolen base. Gary Sheffield at the plate here as A-Rod goes diving headlong into second after his base hit.
You know, I can't get over what even the great Bobby Orr said there about he didn't think they had, you know, a chance against the Yankees. And partner, you and I, when we left the ballpark here in Game 3 of that ALCS, there was one sign that stuck in both of our minds. It said, "You fooled us again."
Yes, yes.
I mean, how they had already just given up. And then all of a sudden they come back and they win 4 and 5. But now it gets even tougher because you got to go back to Yankee Stadium. But there was Curt Schilling. And then in Game 7, there was Derek Lowe coming back on 2 days rest. No wonder Derek Lowe got the big ovation today that he got.
And after Game 3, when the Red Sox had their heads handed to them here at Fenway Park, I mean, Boston was like a graveyard. Ground ball up the middle by Sheffield. Renteria makes a nice play. A-Rod's running right through. The throw to the plate after a hesitation. Dug out by Mirabelli, and A-Rod, who should have been out, is safe at the plate with a Yankee run. Renteria made a marvelous play up the middle on the outfield grass. We thought to prevent a run, but A-Rod just kept on coming hard, ran right through it, and winds up scoring on a poor throw by Edgar Renteria.
I never saw third base coach Luis Sojo hold him up. I'm not sure that the third base coach knew that Renteria got to that ball. That is a great play. You see Wakefield there signaling. I mean, that's just a bad throw. I think if Mirabelli had it to do over again, instead of charging that ball, he might have just come back. I don't think Luis Sojo held A-Rod up right there. I think A-Rod just kept going because he was told to keep going, and then all of a sudden the throw came to home plate. He didn't know exactly what to do, but when Mirabelli went to get it, A-Rod heads up came right on around the tag.
There were about 6 or 7 things going on that one play, and among them Alex Rodriguez actually stopped about 2/3 of the way to home plate, so he could have been out about 2 or 3 different times on that play. He winds up scoring. Renteria skipping the throw, so it's a single, an error on Renteria, no RBI, and Sheffield takes second on the poor throw to the plate. We talked about Renteria being somewhat nervous before the game in his first game at Fenway Park as a member of the Red Sox. You wonder how much that may have contributed there. Hideki Matsui 0 for 1. He struck out in the first inning and fouls that one back.
Not making an excuse for him. I mean, you're a big league baseball player. You should be able to make that throw, but it's a different throw than what he practices. You take a look here at A-Rod. Watch now as he goes around right there. He's hearing go, go, go. He took a look right there, and it's like, wait a minute now. It's too late. I can't stop. I'm already halfway there. But Renteria out there in short center field, that throw to home plate's not something they work on a whole lot. I mean, it's kind of like a pitcher. I can remember when you're backing up home, the ball gets away and you see that guy going from first to second. I mean, that, even though it's you're a professional base, it's a different throw than what you're used to make, and a lot of times that ball will get away from you, as it did Renteria.
So the Yankees with a run in here in the 4th inning. Matsui already with 8 runs batted in on the year. That one takes a friendly hop to Bellhorn. Over to Millar for the out. Gary Sheffield advancing over to third, and 1 away in front of Tino Martinez.
And you knew, worst case scenario, that this would be the situation that Matsui sets up for Tino Martinez. What a great baseball player Matsui has turned out to be. I mean, there's Derek Jeter right at the top of the step, letting him know, hey, buddy, that's how you get back in a ball game. You're not always going to get a hit, but if you do things right, you set things up for your teammates, the next thing you know, you're a lot closer than what you would have been.
Tino Martinez back with the Yankees. Pops it up. First pitch swinging. Mirabelli looking for a play near the stands and runs right in, but makes the catch. Sheffield has to stay glued to third base, and they're 2 away. You can watch your team's out-of-market games live from anywhere on MLB TV. Log on to ESPN.com for MLB TV. You can get the most baseball anywhere live online. Log on to ESPN.com. Sign up for MLB TV today and never miss a game again.
I do it about every day.
You and I both.
It does not take long at all to catch up on anything baseball-wise you want to know.
That's the first thing I did when I flew into town last night. You know, you're on a plane for a few hours and you get a chance to catch up on games you missed. Here's Posada now. 0 for 1 as he takes inside ball 1.
I mean, partner, you know me. I am not a computer guy. I'm the last guy, and I still don't have email. But I'm working on that. But you hit ESPN.com. You just take a little button and you hit MLB.TV. And there's everything in the world you would want as far as what happened in baseball that day. You can go back into the archives and you can, I don't even know what it's called, but you can condense those games to where, you don't have to watch commercial. I mean, boom, all of a sudden you're there. Everything you need to know, your favorite team, your favorite player. I mean, it just goes on and on.
I just want to know what frightens you so much about the information superhighway. I mean, email is like 10 years old, 20 years old, whatever. You got to get on board. Throwing to third, tag down, but not in time to get Gary Sheffield, who's a very smart base runner.
You know, the problem with email is that people can find you. Sometimes, yeah, you just don't want to be found.
This
Sometimes
is Mirabelli thrown out of the shadows here.
You don't want to get picked off either.
3-0 the count on Posada. And Wakefield is in there for strike.
They wouldn't have done that on that 2-0 pitch, but I know that the Red Sox have this play. A lot of teams do, where you get a guy getting kind of lazy with a lead, whether it be first base or third base, you don't really call a pitch out, but you call something on the outer half where a catcher has a good look to get the throw away. And then all of a sudden he puts the sign on with that corner infielder, middle infielder, whatever. I mean, it's a pitch out that's not a pitch out that gives you a chance to pick somebody off.
Wakefield pretty careful there with Posada. It's a good idea. Over the last 5 years, he has more RBIs than any catcher in the majors. Here's Giambi, a strikeout victim, his first time up. The Yankees have pushed across a run. Boston has made 2 errors today, but they lead at 4-1. Swing, and it's popped up over the center of the diamond. In comes the third baseman Miller. Right behind the mound, he's got it. And the Yankees strand a man, but they also get up on that scoreboard through 3.5 at Fenway. 4-1 Boston.
Dave Rivs and Steve Phillips back in the studio. Mets back on top of the Stros thanks to Kaz Matsui, Steve.
Well, this is what the Mets need to do, play small ball. They need to get Reyes on. He stole a base. Matsui drives him in. That's exactly what they need to do.
That put him up 5-4. Just added another one moments ago. It's 6-4, bottom 8.
I don't know if there's a faster man in the big leagues than Jose Reyes when he is healthy and his ankles and his hamstrings are right. He absolutely flies.
And didn't he seem to be a lot more comfortable at shortstop?
Really loosey-goosey this year, and he's off to an excellent start for the Mets. Of course, they're not as a team, although they won yesterday despite John Smoltz striking out 15. Here's Bill Miller. He was hit by a pitch and came around to score on the Mirabelli home run in the second inning.
Red Sox really don't get the production power-wise from first base or third base that a lot of the other teams get, but you know what? They get exactly what they need from those guys. Millar, a steady, affordable chemistry type guy, big hits, and Bill Miller. I mean, the guy won a batting title a couple of years ago when healthy, a professional hitter, solid defensively.
He has a flair for the dramatic as well. He slugged that memorable walk-off home run off of Mariano Rivera in the bottom of the 9th in July last season. It was the same game A-Rod and Veritek mixed it up. Millar with great career numbers against the Yankees. He hits them well. He flies this one to left. Matsui there moving into shadow in the corner, and he's got it. One down. Doug Mirabelli coming up. He has already cracked a 2-run homer so far today.
Yeah, you don't need to get those power numbers from first and third base when you get them from behind home plate. Veritek, an all-star, outstanding, and then every 5th day when Wakefield starts a game, Doug Mirabelli gets to do his thing.
Mirabelli the backup. Veritek the everyday guy for the most part and really the glue for this team. The Red Sox re-signing Jason Veritek in the offseason, and they made that their #1 priority. He was about to become a free agent, and then they named him the team captain, first Red Sox player to be bestowed that honor since Jim Rice held it, 1989.
And only the 4th ever. You think of Captain Carl Yastrzemski for many, many years.
Carl Yastrzemski, Jimmy Fox, and Jim Rice, the only captains the Red Sox have had since 1940. Jason Veritek turning 33 years old today. And there they are. Boy, Jimmy Fox was a great hitter. Yaz, a Hall of Famer. Some believe Jim Rice belongs in the Hall of Fame. And Veritek is the man now at Fenway.
I would be one of them agreeing that he belongs there. There's a lot of those people that aren't voting for him, or people that didn't have to face him like some of us did. Mike Mussina, look at him. This is called a front door breaking ball. Look at that. You kind of give up on it a little bit there. Coming back to just catch the top of the zone as it crosses the front of home plate.
So much movement on so many pitches from Mussina. Although he is trailing here.
You know, and sometimes too that can go against the guy, Dave, particularly on a day as cold as this is. You see Mike Mussina constantly blowing on his hand, trying to get a consistent grip with those off-speed pitches.
Umpires giving the pitchers permission to do that. That's in there for strike 3, and no discussion at all for Mirabelli. He knew it as soon as it left Mike Mussina's hand. 2 down. Bellhorn to hit now as we check out our Fantasy Stars presented by Dannon. And these two guys yesterday, well, the Masters was going on down the road in Augusta, Georgia. In Atlanta, they hooked up a pair of Masters in a dandy.
Yeah, and Smoltz had a 1-0 lead going into that last inning, but then all of a sudden the Mets offensively exploded on him.
Carlos Beltran with a big home run in that one. And Pedro Martinez retired the last 16 consecutive Braves. The Mets struck out 18 times in the game and they won. That was a terrific game and a great win for the Mets. 6-1 was the final. Swung on and missed by Mark Bellhorn. Johnny Damon up next.
Tough decisions for both of the general managers. Theo Epstein, Brian Cashman. Brian Cashman, people question why they didn't sign Carlos Beltran with the Mets. Boston questioned why they didn't bring Pedro Martinez back. All of a sudden, the New York Mets, they got healthy in a hurry, didn't they? I know one thing, they changed our Monday night schedule when those guys, when they came aboard. We'll be seeing the Mets on Monday nights this year.
It started the year 0-5. They have an 8th inning lead. Well, it's gone now. Houston has taken the lead, as Dave Revson told us. Swing, broken bat, line drive. That's a fair ball. It'll bounce up against the side fence. Sheffield scurries in to get it, and it's a single for Bellhorn. Coming with 2 down here in the 4th inning.
That's just what Ron Jackson was talking about here. You know, all of a sudden, nothing, not really a big deal. Broken bat, base hit, 2 outs, nobody on. But when you've got a guy in the leadoff position named Johnny Damon, I mean, 94 RBIs out of your leadoff guy, it can lead to big things. And that's the little things that Mark Bellhorn does for this team.
Damon at 346, single and stole a base in the 1st inning. He's 1 for 2. Johnny with pretty good power out of that leadoff spot as well. He takes a knee-high strike.
He was a lot like Bellhorn in that American League Championship Series a year ago. 3 for 29 in the first 6 games. But all of a sudden in Game 7, I mean, he turned into Babe Ruth himself. Damon with 2 home runs. He had 6 RBIs.
That one fouled away, and Damon sees the count go to 0-2.
Let's just take a look back. Yankee Stadium. Down the line. Gone. And then icing on the cake. And he just carried that momentum right on into that World Series. For the Red Sox to be good, Johnny has to be good.
Bellhorn getting back in. Look at those numbers you were talking about. American League Championship Series, games 1 through 6, just 3 hits. But the big home runs and 6 RBIs in Game 7.
We talk about Manny Ramirez's consistency as we should. About averaging 113 runs over the last 7 years. And Damon with a lot of that.
A-Rod, that one right under the glove. It rolls to Jeter, and everybody's going to be safe. Alex Rodriguez having a tough go of it here at Fenway Park in the Red Sox home opener. Did not get the glove down far enough, and man, will he hear it from here to Maine.
Well, he plays this into an error. Just stay right there. You don't have to go anywhere. Stay right there. Take the hop 1 step on the dirt, and you've got plenty of time from that position to throw Johnny Damon out. That right there is the play of a guy who's comfortable at shortstop and still a year later learning to play the third base position.
Trot Nixon now trying to make him pay for that miscue. 1 for 2 in this one with a single. Runners at 1st and 2nd, and 2 out for Boston. Messina not getting help in this one.
A-Rod really off to a difficult start defensively this year. Mariano Rivera made the pitch he had to make in a game earlier in this season. Got the ground ball to A-Rod, bases loaded. Should have been an inning-ending double play, a game-ending double play. A-Rod not able to come up with that one, nor able to come up with that ball by Johnny Damon.
Nixon has homered once on the young season. He looks at a strike. Hey, you wonder if the shadows had anything to do with this too, Rick.
I just think he charged. He did not need to charge the baseball. That ball hit 10 feet on the grass before it would have gotten to the dirt. He was already playing in. All he had to do was just kind of slide to his left, take it on the big hop, and it would have been a short throw to third base.
Bellhorn and Damon on. Nixon swings and drives it to right field. The Sheffield see it. He backs up, and it's off his glove and up against the fence. 1 run in. Here comes Damon. He will score. And the Yankees defensively are letting down Mike Mussina. Although the sun conspired there, Sheffield at the crack of the bat was urgently looking for it, held that glove up to block the sun, and he just didn't see it.
One of the toughest right fields in all of baseball to play. The guy that hit it can attest for that being Trot Nixon. He broke in the direction where he thought the baseball was. Now all of a sudden you can see the glare on the glasses. It comes out of the sun. He sees where it is, and he just simply couldn't get there. To me, that has to go as a double. I mean, he did everything he possibly could to get there.
Indeed it is. It's a double and 2 RBIs for Trot Nixon. And another ball not caught. You can see Mussina saying Chef pleading with him to make the catch, but it is a double. And the crowd is on the back of Alex Rodriguez again, chanting A-Rod, because remember his error on a Johnny Damon ground ball, which would have been out number 3 had he made the play. 6-1 Boston.
Here's where they offensively just never let up.
The 1-0 fastball is in there. 1 ball, 1 strike.
They get an opportunity to put the game away, and they are, to me, the best team in baseball at doing that. Whether you make a mistake physically, mentally, whatever it is, you just open that door a little bit, and I mean, they just keep the line of moving coming through it.
That's a line with Manny Ramirez at the head of the class, and then David Ortiz, and they've added Edgar Renteria, former batting champ Bill Miller. Line into left, fair ball down the line. That will score another run. Nixon rounds. He is in. 7-1.
He's an RBI machine. He has been for a long, long time. An opportunity to add to that lead. There's the fastball in. That is not a bad pitch, but look at how quick he gets to that fastball in. He just opens up. He throws the head of the bat on the baseball. Now he's going down the line. With Manny Ramirez running the bases, a lot of times you don't know what you're going to get. Rather than yelling at him, sometimes you just got to reach out and grab him, and that's what first base coach Lynn Jones does here. Look at him. He's thinking that. Lynn Jones is saying, no, 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 no. I don't want you to misunderstand what I say. Well, I don't want you to think go, and I'm saying no. Pointing that back to get back here, because you know what? The big Poppy is coming up next.
Red Sox have scored in each of the last 3 innings. 2 runs in the second, 2 runs in the third, 3 so far here in the 4th inning. And A-Rod's error a big part of this Red Sox uprising. We've got baseball tonight coming your way this evening with Carl Ravitch, Harold Reynolds, John Kruk, and Tim Kirkjian. They bring you all the news, notes, and highlights from the Diamond on Baseball Tonight at 10 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPN.com.
I think we're supposed to say Emmy-nominated Harold Reynolds, aren't we?
I believe we are contractually obligated. Yes, we are.
Which obviously we send out our congratulations, as always, to the Baseball Tonight crew and all of those Emmy nominations.
Hey, Chart, go get him, buddy. You saw Carce throwing in the bullpen. The Red Sox really knocking the ball around, but with some help from Alex Rodriguez, who has drawn the attention to the fans ever since his E5 on the Damon ground ball. Nixon with a double, Ramirez with a single, and Ortiz trying to keep it going for the Red Sox here. He takes a ball. 2-0. A 7-1 Red Sox lead. They have out-hit the Yankees 7-2 so far. On the outside corner for a strike.
91 extra base hits a year ago for David Ortiz. That is the all-time Boston Red Sox record. mean, you think about Ted Williams and Carl Yastrzemski. It's this man that holds that record.
In the playoffs, he turned into a rock star here as he grounds that one foul. I mean, if not for his home run and then base hit heroics in the last couple of games of the American League Championship Series here at Fenway Park, we might still be playing those games. I mean, they're 5 hours, 40 minutes.
Right when the Anaheim Angels tried to make a comeback of their own. Remember the grand slam by Vladimir Guerrero? Well, David Ortiz says, no, I won't have anything of that. That walk-off home run.
Swing and a miss. He's out on strikes, and Mussina's out of the inning. An inning in which A-Rod had a rough time over there at third base. The Red Sox scored 3 times to lead it 7-1. Well, the Yankees with a key error. Alex Rodriguez commits that at third base. That opens up the floodgates somewhat. Boston with 3 runs in the inning and lead it 7-1. Ground ball by Bernie Williams, but right at Mark Bellhorn, up and over. And one very fast out in the Yankee 5th. Let's go downstairs now to Aaron Andrews. Aaron.
All right, Dave, thanks so much. Obviously a very scary incident yesterday for Carl Pavano of the Yankees. Hit by a batter, Melvin Mora, in the game. What a shot he took. Joe Torre told me he was absolutely frightened after hearing the knock it made on the side of his head. Of course, going through all the tests, he was fine. He was actually out there practicing with the team today. Joe Torre telling me his biggest problem was finding a hat to cover that huge lump on the side of his head. So thankfully, Carl Pavano, okay, guys.
Wow.
That's scary. I talked to Carl too before the game, and I mean, he looks fine. He says he's fine. I mean, he says it with conviction, but I got to tell you, partner, it never happened to me. I mean, I got hit everywhere else on my body, but to be hit in the head like that, I mean, it's such a scary thing for so many reasons. I mean, you see some guys that once that happens to them, I mean, the next time they throw a pitch, they almost kind of recoil, like they get themselves in a fielding position before they actually get everything on that pitch.
That's human nature.
You hope that doesn't happen. I mean, guys have been hit. It's going to continue to happen. It's a scary thing, but boy, you just hope he's okay.
Well, you and I have seen it over the years. I remember the former Red Sox pitcher Dick Pole was drilled.
Oh yeah.
Effectively ending his career in many ways. Ground ball fair inside the line by Tony Womack, and that's going to bounce right to Nixon. He's up and throwing. Womack, still good wheels, dives in with a double. A 1-out 2-base hit for Tony Womack. And Derek Jeter coming up next. Womack getting around the bases quickly and not conceding anything here. He was thinking double right out of the gate.
Well, he looks just like he did when he first got to the big leagues. A better player now, a better hitter now. How about all of the guys that the New York Yankees added this year? They added Jarrett Wright. He beat him in the World Series in the playoffs a few years ago. Womack, we remember him with Arizona, that double in the 9th inning of Game 7. I mean, Brian Cashman, the general manager, he's got a pretty good memory too. Randy Johnson, we know what he did. Pavano back with the Florida Marlins just a couple of years ago, dominated the Yankees in that World Series.
Jeter with a swing and a miss, got a little bitty piece of it for strike one. 2 young general managers among the best in the business. Of course, Theo Epstein, the talented Red Sox GM, and Brian Cashman, both sporting World Championship rings, although it's been a little while for the Yankees. 2 young GMs with great big checkbooks as well.
How about Theo at 31 years of age? I mean, he's already a living legend here in Boston with what he was able to put together last year on the field.
And you know that is very, very true as Jeter swings and misses, and it's 0-2. That legend part of it, I mean, everywhere they go in New England for the rest of their lives, all the members of that championship team, and that includes Theo Epstein as the GM, they'll never be able to do anything wrong. Look at that payroll, $206 million now for the Yankees. And I mean, Theo's playing second fiddle at $121 million. And the Mets at just under $105 million.
How about some of the things that Theo didn't get done? I mean, he's the guy that waived Manny Ramirez. I mean, he's the one that didn't get Pedro Martinez signed back. Traded Nomar Garciaparra.
Yeah, and couldn't leave his house for about 3 days after that trade. Nomar is still an incredibly popular player here. Although that worked out rather well.
Yeah, that worked out. And you know what? It's going to work out perfectly well for Nomar Garciaparra as well. He's healthy again. Not getting the base hits quite yet, but saw him in spring training several times. He looks great.
I think he's going to have a huge year for the Cubs. Swung on and missed for strike 3 as Mirabelli did a real nice job hanging on. 2 out, runner at second. Update time. We go to Dave Revson in the studio.
Thank you, Dave. Here with Steve Phillips. Angels are coming back to tie the Rangers. Darren Erstad in the 9th off Francisco Cordero, Steve.
No bigger gamer in baseball than Erstad. He knows it's a 9-inning game. He plays it to the end, takes that pitch out and away and drives it.
This one may be a 10-inning game because it's 6-6, top of 9. Second blown save for Cordero, Dave.
Thank you, Dave. And Steve, 7-1 here. Boston with the lead in the 5th inning. And here's A-Rod flaring that one foul. He has struck out and singled so far today. Jeter fanning moments ago, so there are 2 gone. Alex Rodriguez at 286 with a home run. Fans really jumped on him after the error earlier, but the loudest it got when the Yankees were introduced here at Fenway after the ring ceremony. The Yankees lining up along the third base line. Loudest it got was when they booed Alex Rodriguez. It was in the press, in the Boston papers all throughout the winter, going back and forth with Kurt Schilling and Trot Nixon. Doing a lot of sparring. That one misses just inside. Wakefield had started off the mound thinking he had strike 3.
Let's take a look at this one more time. I mean, you get everybody in the field to move like that. You get the crowd cranking. He was exactly right. It's one of those things where from the side you get fooled because it wasn't high and it wasn't low, but from where Terry Francona was, he couldn't tell if it was on the plate or not.
Hit sharply just off the foul line by A-Rod. They got 1 ball, 2 strikes. A-Rod coming into this one just a .233 career hitter against Wakefield with a couple of homers, having struck out 12 times in 43 at bats. That one off the glove. The runner is going to move up. Womack into third, and a pass ball on Mirabelli. That goes with the program when you're catching a knuckleballer.
Look at that thing. I mean, it hardly turned at all until they got about halfway there, and then the wind started to catch it. It started to rotate a little bit. When that all of a sudden, when that wind catches, is when it starts to move, and Wyatt got away from Mirabelli.
So Womack 90 feet away here. Fouled back to the net.
Even as well as Wakefield has pitched thus far in this game, I mean, he'd be the first guy to tell you, and he's told me in the past that he prefers it hot. I mean, 60 degrees or warmer is ideal for him. He says on a day like this, he said that baseball at times when your fingers gets, it's almost like you're trying to throw a cue ball up there to home plate. You really don't have a good feel for it.
Ground ball to the middle. Renteria there to scoop it up behind the bag and gets it. And the Yankees strand a runner at third base. We're at the midway point in Boston. 7-1. The Red Sox loving it. Bottom of the 5th inning coming away from Fenway Park. Rick Sutcliffe, Dave O'Brien with you. Aaron Andrews as well. It is 7-1. The Red Sox on the day they got their World Championship rings. And the title banner was unfurled here at Fenway Park. Could not be going a whole lot better for Boston all the way around. And here's Kevin Millar, himself included, after an 0 for 9 last couple of games. Got himself a 2-run single in the 3rd inning.
Well, this guy knows all about comebacks. I mean, don't forget, at one time he was a member of the St. Paul Saints.
Yeah, in the Independent League. His career was on the skids pretty much before it had started.
Really hard for me to call Kevin Millar a Saint. We know how much fun this guy can be.
Well, just look at the helmet.
You got to figure he got a lot of that sense of humor from one of the owners of the St. Paul Saints back then.
He takes down low for a ball, and it's 2-1.
You know who I'm talking about. Our good buddy Bill Murray.
Oh, of course.
You know he had to have something to do with corrupting this guy. You know, Millar was not born as crazy as he's turned out to be.
Well, you know what? For as zany as Millar is, and he certainly keeps the Red Sox loose, there's no denying that.
He does, yep.
He is a very, very good big league hitter. In spots like this, 3-1, he feasts on pitchers.
and just such a constant source of energy in that clubhouse for Boston.
He was a great pickup for this franchise, and he takes ball 4. Hey, we have another special guest with Aaron Andrews. Aaron, you're finding great athletes everywhere at Fenway.
Everywhere, even on the Green Monster. Of course, Doug Flutie here. His very first time sitting on the Green Monster. What's the view like?
This is awesome. Sitting on the left field line, looking at Matsui down there, and also, with Manny on left field. So I've been just about everywhere in this ballpark. It's the first time up here.
Obviously, you're a huge sports fan, Boston sports fan. What was the ceremony like for you?
It was a great feeling. Just the energy level in the stadium, and then seeing all the older Red Sox come out, Johnny Pesky get in the ring. It's just a tremendous time for everyone here. We
were just discussing some of the greats that are in town. Of course, Bobby Orr, Bill Russell, all the former Red Sox. One particular person you were so excited to see?
Well, I was happy for Johnny Pesky. Oh, seeing Louis Tiant out there. Louis Tiant walking out looked great, and that's my generation that I came up when I was a kid watching.
He's eating all these peanuts back here. I don't know if you can see it. You're not spitting them on anyone, are you,
no,
Doug?
But I'm spitting them out at you now, probably.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the game, guys.
Doug Flutie still looks like he could suit up for Boston College. He still looks like a kid, doesn't he?
He could still make that toss, huh?
Working the peanuts. Look at this. This is one of the great views in sports. Doug Flutie atop the Green Monster in left field. You can have yourself a cold beverage and flick peanut shells on the left fielder if you want to.
Unbelievable to me what these guys have done with this ballpark now. Larry Lucchino, Dr. Charles Steinberg, who was involved in the pregame ceremonies, Mike D, the senior vice president. I mean, it's unbelievable. The seats up above the Green Monster now. Down there, down the right field line, the new addition that they've built there. The clubhouses you don't even recognize anymore. Batting cages down the runway as you go through the Boston Red Sox dugout up to their clubhouse. There's a weight room that they built up above it. There's all kinds of restaurants and sports bars and things that they have. I mean, they finally realized that, you know what, they're not moving.
Yeah.
They're staying right here. And so they have come. I mean, it's the oldest ballpark in baseball.
And the smallest.
You could never tell it when you walk into it. It is in such great shape.
Gets bigger and bigger. Strike 3, Renteria. Hey, we have an important announcement. We're going to go back to the studio here. Some news coming your way with Dave Revson. Dave?
Thank you, Dave. Becoming a more familiar refrain here. Rockies outfielder Jorge Piedra becoming the second major leaguer to be suspended under baseball's new policy regarding performance-enhancing drugs. Piedra played 38 games with the Rockies last year. He was sent back to AAA earlier this week.
All right, Dave, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Here's Bill Miller. He's been hit by a pitch and fly to left. Puts this one in play. Womack shuffling it over to Jeter. And the low throw in time to Martinez for the double play. So through 5 innings, it remains the Red Sox 7 and the Yankees 1 at Fenway Park on a glorious day.
ESPN's Day Game, brought to you by the new Singular, raising the bar. Olive Garden, when you're here, you're family. And Western Union, the fastest way to send money worldwide.
Well, the Red Sox ownership doesn't do anything in a small way, that's for sure, as Sheffield knocks a single into left field. You saw that gigantic 2004 World Series championship banner. The length and the height of the Green Monster, that's all, in the pregame ceremonies. Spectacular ceremonies, very touching in many ways if you're a Red Sox fan. And this was spine-tingling stuff because no one expected a banner quite this big. It's the size of Rhode Island.
You know, my question is, now what do you do with it?
I mean, yeah, where do you put it?
They can't hang it there during the games. I mean, I don't know how you would rule a ball getting caught in that. I mean, you're not going to find a flagpole that's going to be able to hold it.
Yeah, it took them, I mean, a long time to finally lift it back up. We were thinking for the longest time, well, it's going to stay there all season now. And what's the ground rule on that? Is it like the ivy at Wrigley Field? You know, if it disappears behind it?
You know what the Red Sox will do. I mean, they'll cut it up, they'll get it autographed, and they'll raise a lot of money for charity.
Matsui fouls one back. Well, for the second time, as Dave Revson told us, a major leaguer has tested positive for steroids. And Rick Sutcliffe, I have to ask him, and there are 38 minor leaguers also testing positive for steroids so far.
Yeah, get them all.
When that's what's happening, do you have a sense, as we'll give you a look at the steroid policy, the testing policy as it is right now, you have a sense that this is just the very, very beginning of a whole slew of major leaguers? I mean, real soon, they're going to show up as having tested positive.
And the word I'm getting is that, you know, there's going to be a lot bigger names than what we're hearing right now. You know, I think about Alex Sanchez and what he said the other day about how he didn't read the label on what he was taking. You got to be kidding.
Pretty weak, yeah.
You're an absolute idiot. I mean, I'll go on record, whatever. I mean, you know what's going on in baseball now. They're going to clean it up. And if you're guilty right now, they're going to get you. The problem right now for baseball, you look at that, I mean, you know, 5 strikes and you're out. Come on now, that's going to change.
And only 10 days for the first one.
That's going to change real quick. 10 days. I got an 8-game suspension for drilling a guy one time. I mean, come on. When I hit somebody, that could be or might not be a mistake. When you take steroids, when you get caught, partner, you and I both agree that's not a mistake. That's a bad choice that you made, and there should be a punishment for it. You should pay for it, and it should be a lot more than just 10 days for the first offense.
Tino Martinez at the bat, 1 down. Sheffield was running. He'll head on back to first after the foul ball. And what would you were telling me, I mean, Sanchez, I believe, lost somewhere in the area of $32,000 suspended without pay. When you hit a guy and you were suspended almost as long as he was for steroid use.
Yeah, just 2 days less.
What did that cost you?
Over $100,000 for drilling a guy, for protecting one of my teammates, which is part of the game as we know at the big league level. You take steroids and it costs you $30,000 in 10 days. Come on, what's the that's a slap on the hand. That's not near enough. And I do love what the commissioner's done. I mean, are they where they need to be? No, we know that. We know that if the list of things they got to test for was that long, right now they're only testing for about this. But it is a lot better than it was a year ago, and it's much better, the policy is, than the one that wasn't in place 2 years ago. But to me, I mean, word is out. Let's just tear that thing up right now. I mean, we've got to get this thing settled. It's got to go away. I'm hearing bigger names are going to come out within the next couple of weeks.
Who you have maybe heard through the grapevine have already tested positive?
There has already been a lot of rumors going out. I mean, you can't dot an I and cross a T yet, but let's just wait for 2 weeks. There's going to be some bigger names from what we're told.
Osada 0 for 1 as he lays off the pitch down low. Red Sox with a 7-1 lead here in the 6th inning. Jorge today has grounded out and taken ball 4. Started the afternoon hitting .333. Gary Sheffield opened the frame with a single. He's at first. And that one's a routine play for Bellhorn at second. Up it over to Millar. And that's it for the Yankees. Not threatening much against the knuckleballer Wakefield. Boston up by 6.
Dave Revs and Steve Phillips with you. Angels have now taken the lead on Texas. In the 10th, the former Red Sox Orlando Cabrera.
Well, the Texas bullpen is imploding like everybody else. 17 runs and 22+ innings already this year. 5 blown saves.
That'll be theme of the year so far. 7-6 Angels, Dave.
Back in Fenway, big lead for the Red Sox, up 7-1 here in the bottom half of the 6th inning. And a new pitcher on the hill for the Yankees, the right-hander Felix Rodriguez.
76 appearances just a year ago with the Giants and the Philadelphia Phillies. Came over from the Phillies in a trade that involved Kenny Lofton, leaving New York.
Felix has bounced around a little bit as he fires in a strike on Mirabelli, who has belted a 2-run homer. The slender right-hander from the Dominican Republic has played for the Dodgers, Cincinnati, Arizona, the Giants, and now a stop in pinstripes.
That was actually a young catcher with the Los Angeles Dodgers, converted. I really thought for years there that the key, or one of the big keys to the San Francisco Giants' success, was the durability, consistent production that they got from this guy.
And of course, for the New York Yankees, durability and production out of Mariano Rivera has been a huge part of their incredible success. Although lately, particularly against the Red Sox, he has been not nearly as effective. And that is Mariano. Let's see if he gets a chance to work in this series against Boston. I think the Red Sox fans would love to see him again. They had a great time with him during the pregame ceremonies when the Yankees were introduced. Listen in on when Rivera headed out to the bullpen moments ago. on their feet cheering Rivera as they did in the pregame. They gave him a huge, lusty standing ovation. I mean, very, very sarcastic on behalf of the Red Sox fans, but they had a great time with him. And Mariano was laughing and smiling all through that. They count 3-2 on Mirabelli.
I guess he is human after all. Kind of.
We all had our doubts, right? He was automatic year after year. But Joe Torre's had some interesting comments about Rivera's struggles against the Red Sox, which have included the last couple of playoffs as well. Swing and a miss, and Mirabelli strikes out. Said, you know, we play them 19 times a year. They see Mariano more than anybody. And they've gotten used to a few things. And look at his season against the Red Sox so far. 1-1 record. A couple of blown saves. A .455 batting average Boston's gotten against him.
One thing about the Boston Red Sox, you know, these guys like to stay up late at night. These idiots like to party and have a good time. And, you know, he might be the Sandman for the rest of the American League, but he's not able to put them to sleep offensively. And he'll be the first to tell you. I mean, when he blew the save in Game 4, it all started with a walk to Kevin Millar. Then the stolen base hit after that. The next thing you know, the momentum started to roll. I'll never forget what Derek Jeter told me before that game. And I honestly thought he was joking until we talked more and more about it.
Before Game 4.
Game 4. They had just blown him out in Game 3. He says, this is by far the most important game of the series. I said, what are you talking about? He goes, we have to win this ball game. I said, why? He goes, because we can't let them get any kind of momentum going. He was exactly right.
And they were up 3-0. Yep. And ready to put the Red Sox out of their misery.
And all of a sudden they lost that one. And even, I mean, they still had 2 games at home if it were to go Game 6 and 7. But he knew right then how important that ball game was. It got away from him. Game 5 got away. So did the World Series again.
And Dave Roberts with that steal with Rivera on the hill as Bellhorn pops that one up high to left but shallow, and Matsui is in for the catch and out number 2. Dave Roberts was here today to collect his World Series ring. Here's the big steal in Game 4.
When he went out to take first base, he asked manager Terry Francona, what do I do? He says, just touch home plate. That's all I care about. And we were told after the game from some of the players that Bill Miller actually had the bunt sign. And he stepped out of the box remembering that his last at bat off of Mariano Rivera was that walk-off homer you talked about. He took a swing, tied the baseball game up.
Johnny Damon hitting with the bases empty here against Rodriguez. Yeah, Dave Roberts was here. Right now he's on the disabled list with the San Diego Padres. A huge ovation for him when he came out to collect his World Series ring. Derek Lowe also here, the Los Angeles Dodger. Popped up into shallow center, broken bat. Here comes Bernie Williams, and he'll make the running catch. And the Red Sox, one of the few times on the day, go quietly. Through 6 innings, though, Boston leads their hated rivals 7-1.
Dave Rebson, Steve Phillips with you. White Sox taking the lead on the Tribe thanks to Scott Posednik.
Well, a year ago, the White Sox scored all the runs with the home run. They tied for the league lead. This year, they're playing small ball, line drive up the middle.
So far, so good. A win today would make them 5-2. Still ways to go, though, up 2-1.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Top half of the 7th inning, and Jason Giambi in the box. He has gone 0 for 2. The Red Sox lead it 7-1. Rick Sutcliffe, Dave O'Brien with you. Giambi, then Bernie Williams, and then the new second baseman for the Yankees, Tony Womack. They have been held to 4 hits, and Wakefield has really had that knuckler dancing today since the very first inning. A lot of stuff just like that. Giambi kind of confused at the plate, not sure where it's going to land.
Knuckleballer has a way of confusing everybody. He can't tell if a guy's swinging good or not.
Yeah, including his catcher. And number 49, the number that Wakefield wears, that is what all knuckleballers wear, I guess. Charlie Huff wore it. Wilhelm wore it, yeah. Ground ball headed for the hole, but there's Bellhorn from the outfield up and throwing, and the ship pays off beautifully as Giambi is out on a 4-3 from right field. So Giambi is 0 for 3. Let's go downstairs to Aaron Andrews. Aaron?
All right, guys, you never know who you'll run into here at Fenway. Of course, our very own Peter Gammons. And Peter, you've been around this Red Sox team since the early 70s. Tell me what that ceremony meant to you.
Well, I think it would have tied. I mean, I grew up in New England, so it tied together sort of all the generations. I mean, I thought it was fabulous that Johnny Pesky actually got the greatest ovation of anyone. And that just sort of, you know, that Dave Roberts and Derek Lowe came back and got the tremendous ovation. It was, you know, it was about our fathers and our grandfathers and all that. And I thought it was exactly what I thought it would be.
Now that the Red Sox have their rings, put this rivalry between them and the Yankees in perspective for us.
Well, you know, I think part of the definition of it is that the fact that the Yankees stood at the top step of the dugout, watched the Red Sox get their rings, and applauded. And I thought that was, you know, the fans scream at each other. Once in a while, guys get thrown at. They occasionally have fights, but in the end, there's so much respect between these two teams that I think it's really good. I think it's the way it should be. It reminded me of a Stanley Cup final when the two teams line up and shake hands at the end. And I thought what the Yankees did today was tremendous for baseball.
Of course, not to overshadow what's going on here at Fenway, but big news, second major leaguer suspended under the new drug policy. What was your reaction when you heard that?
That this is another guy that can't afford the good trainer, the good masking agents, and the good clear. I mean, you know, until players who can afford the really good trainers start to get suspended, then I'll really believe that it's tremendously effective. But for the time being, it's very clear that guys that either can't read, that didn't read the backs of the nutritional supplements or whatever they took, which is what happened with Alex Sanchez, or just don't know enough or can't afford the good trainers. It's a little bit superficial.
Peter Gammons, thank you.
Thanks, Aaron.
Dave?
Peter, Aaron, thank you very much. Said I think you fully concur, a little bit superficial in terms of the steroid policy suspensions and the weight of the suspension, just not enough.
Yeah, we were real fortunate during spring training when we had USADA, the United States Anti-Doping Agency, come down to speak to all of us on behalf of that. And basically what Peter Gammons is talking about is the players that can afford it now are doing the human growth hormone thing, which can only be found if you take a blood sample. And as we know, Major League Baseball is not doing that right now. And the guys that are getting away with it are the guys that are doing that. The guys that get caught, like we said earlier, I mean, you're just an absolute idiot.
So to be clear on that, growth hormone, which, by the way, is what, when people accuse Barry Bonds of, you know, being on the juice, that's the #1 thing that his accusers say that he has been on, unproven. But there is not a test for it right now under the Major League Baseball steroid policy.
No.
Because the only way to pick up growth hormone, you say, is
by drawing
test.
blood, which the only reason I know that is because of what the Olympic Committee people, when they came down and talked to us, they talked about the repercussions from taking that later on in life. You know, I mean, it's a coin toss with your life as to what can happen. But well, we know right now, I mean, it is in baseball. We've had people that there's been leaks from newspapers, from the testimonies. The Canseco book, Ken Caminiti came out. There's too much of that going around not to believe a lot of it.
You know, one thing that we were told, and this blew everybody away that heard this from the anti-doping authorities, and I had not known this, never heard it before, but apparently it is true, that steroid use can actually enhance your eyesight, and to a tremendous degree. And that blew me away. I had always thought, well, there are certain things that steroid use won't help. Your ability to, you know, hand-eye coordination, your eyesight, those things are God-given. They can't be enhanced. The truth of the matter is they can and do enhance your eyesight.
Well, not only that, but your recovery time is cut down in half.
Yeah, that's human growth hormone we're talking about that can actually enhance your eyesight. As you point out, there are plenty of athletes doing that who may not be caught in the near future. 3 balls and a strike on Derek Jeter, who is 0 for 3 today with a couple of strikeouts. And that's in there for strike. Full count on him. 2 out with Bernie Williams at first base. It is 7-1 Boston.
Wakefield caught Derek Jeter looking earlier on a fastball just like that on the inside corner. Doing a nice job mixing in an occasional fastball. I don't think you're going to see one here. I think he's going to go back with that knuckleball and try to get Jeter to expand the zone down.
Rattle toward third. Miller up with it from the cut of the grass, throws on to get him. Out number 3, 1 man left. The Red Sox fans have been cheering since way before the first pitch. And we're going to take you back to the ceremonies and the presentation of the rings when we return to Fenway. Red Sox and their fans loving life today. They're beating up on the Yankees 7-1 here on ESPN Day Game, and you can watch your team's out-of-market games live from anywhere. Log on to ESPN.com for MLB TV. If you're a baseball fan, you should not do without it. You can get the most baseball available anywhere live online. Log on to ESPN.com and sign up for MLB TV. You will never miss a game again. From earlier today, Red Sox fans living for a ceremony like this. You talk about a big banner. The Red Sox know how to do a big championship banner. Bringing that championship trophy, which went to every corner of New England in the offseason. And then big David Ortiz and his teammates getting their championship rings. Curt Schilling, so much a part of it. Man, could he run for governor in any state in New England? And the Yankees in a classy gesture. You've come to expect that from Joe Torre, applauding them.
I think you have to applaud to the Boston Red Sox. And, you know, in particular, I think about Terry Francona. They called themselves idiots, and just how he was able to pull everything together. I mean, the first 3 months of the year, they were a 500 team. They had all kinds of problems. But the next thing you know, they eased into that wild card position. They jumped all over the Angels. You know, they were down as low as a team could possibly get against the Yankees. And yet I mean, he got 25 guys on the same side pulling on that rope, and the next thing you know, they won the tug of war.
So many of those pictures from the pregame ceremony worth 1,000 words. And what that championship team did for New England healed 1 million broken hearts. Red Sox tragedies over the years, which they can laugh about now, but they weren't laughing about, you know, Bucky Dent or Bill Buckner or any of that stuff over this long expanse of time. 86 years since their previous championship. So many of those wounds have healed now. Trot Nixon is 2 for 3 with a 2-run double in this one. And on the topic of wounds, the bloody sock of Curt Schilling.
Just another thing that Terry Francona had to deal with. You know, you think about over the winter, and you know, Manny Ramirez there in the on-deck circle was put on waivers. I mean, that could have been a problem. Yet there was some respect there between the player and the manager. There was some communication. Curt Schilling hurt. I mean, you didn't know that he was going to come back. Nobody expected it. I mean, we saw him go down in his start against the Angels in the playoffs. I mean, he threw the ball away down the first base line. I mean, he was in trouble. David Ortiz, Minnesota Twins, let him go. Alan Emery down there in the bullpen. Anybody could have had him. Kevin Millar came from an independent team. I mean, just, you know, Nomar Garcia-Parra was hurt. He was not going to be healthy last year. And yet, all of a sudden, Theo Epstein steps up and says, you know, we can't win without a healthy shortstop. Not a knock on Nomar. He just physically wasn't going to be healthy.
Up and away for ball 4, but that sutured ankle of Curt Schilling's legendary now here in Boston. We flash back to it right before Game 6, and a phenomenal performance. In any way that you can refer to an athlete as a warrior, you have to refer to Curt Schilling as that.
Curt Schilling said the biggest thrill in baseball for a starting pitcher is to get 55,000 people to shut up. And he is pretty good at doing that at Yankee Stadium. He did it as a Diamondback, and he did it again as a Boston Red Sox.
Well, that ankle now fully repaired. He pitches Wednesday as Manny Ramirez fouls one back. Manny has singled in a run today. A runner at first base. We are in the 7th inning. Getting into late afternoon here in Boston.
Well, this guy is getting real close to being locked in. Talking before the game, he said how, you know, he had to start going to the opposite field. There was just too much movement, he said, going on in the box, particularly with his legs. He said he looked like Ichiro. I said, well, what's wrong with that? He said, I can't hit like that. Only he can.
I'm always eager to find out which hairstyle Manny is going to have. It not only changes from year to year, but heck, during the baseball season, series to series.
Oh yeah, color to color. I mean, you just never know what to expect.
Well, he has been responsible for a boatload of great moments here at Fenway Park, but you and I were here a year ago after Manny had taken his citizenship test in Miami.
Yeah.
And missed a game and then flew up to Fenway Park to rejoin the Red Sox, and he was the first man to race out of the dugout the following night with a little American flag in his hand. Raced out to take his position in left field, and boy, the reception by the fans of Fenway, that sent chills up your spine. Swing and a miss.
Smile on his face too that we have ever seen. Congratulations to Manny. A year ago he won the Hank Aaron Award, which means he was the best offensive player in the American League. Barry Bonds picked up the same award over in the National League. 14 consecutive postseason games a year ago he hit in for these Boston Red Sox.
Looking for his first home run of 2005, and lays off down and away from Rodriguez. Mike Mussina went the first 5 innings, gave up 7 runs, 4 of those earned, and allowed 7 hits. So for Mike Mussina, usually pitches quite well here at Fenway Park. He's on a string of rather mediocre performances here in this little bandbox.
Well, his command just wasn't there today. He walked 2 guys in that 3rd inning when they scored a couple of runs. I mean, that tells you the story about Mike Mussina. But that old cliche, partner, about good pitching, how it always beats good hitting, I believe it. I think it's more than a cliche. I think it's true. The problem that the Yankees found out, and then again the St. Louis Cardinals, this is a great hitting team here in Boston. It's not just a good hitting team. I mean, when you can consistently from time to time, I mean, last year they had Bill Miller hitting 9th. That's a guy that won the batting title the year before.
That's when you know you have a pretty good lineup right there. When your batting champ is hitting 9th. Look at the Red Sox offense last season. 1st in runs, slugging, and on base. 2nd in batting average. And 5th in home runs. Just 222 of those. Popped up. That one ran in on the thumbs of Manny Ramirez. And Matsui is in for the catch. 1 down. Update time. We go to the studio. Here's Dave Revson.
Here with Steve Phillips as well. Dave, Angels and Rangers now at final. K-Rod getting the job done here, Steve.
K-Rod, most dominant stuff in the American League right now. He's going to be one of the best closers in baseball.
Rangers blow a 9th inning lead. They lose their home opener 7-6.
He is nasty, and very emotional, very passionate about what he does. Some take umbrage at that, but he can back it up. David Ortiz 0 for 2. He has flied out and struck out in this one. I think what Peter Gammons talked about when he was on with Aaron a few moments ago is exactly true, and you could really feel the love throughout Fenway Park for the older Red Sox players who tried but never got a chance to win a championship, never won one. Guys like Carl Yastrzemski and Louis Tiant, players like Jim Lonborg, and on it goes, Dwight Evans. And Peter hit it right on the head when you're talking about players who are beloved here throughout New England.
Well, he would know. I mean, those seats that he's sitting in right now, that nobody gave those to him because he's Peter Gammons. I mean, he owns those seats. He has had them for a long time. Loves coming to the ballpark.
Right behind home plate. Those seats were going for $1,000 and beyond, the box seats out on Yawkey Way, just to be in this ballpark today for the ceremonies.
Well, you never know if there's going to be another. You know, there were a lot of opening days that all of those guys, Carl Yastrzemski, that those guys went through, but there wasn't an opening day where there was a World Series championship ring that was distributed.
Johnny Pesky wearing the number 6 there. Incredible ovation for Johnny. 64 years in a Red Sox organization, and he was awarded a championship ring today, and with tears in his eyes he gratefully accepted that from John Henry. To honor the enduring impact of Jackie Robinson and his legacy, Major League Baseball has established April 15th as Jackie Robinson Day. We invite you to be sure to catch the celebration of an American legend. Ortiz looking for his first hit of the day, but a hot start for David. He has homered twice, 6 runs batted in early on as he takes the ball.
The designated hitter of the year award that he picked up the last 2 years. Just recently named for the retired Seattle Mariner. Great designated hitter, Edgar Martinez. But the way David Ortiz is going right now, I mean, 10 years from now, it might be renamed again. There might be a slash, Edgar Martinez / David Ortiz award.
1 out. Here's the 3-2. He pops that one foul toward the stands. Well, the Mets grabbed another win today. They beat Houston 8-4 after winning their first of the year yesterday.
I think there's some people worried about his left hand. Let's take a look at the swing one more time. Watch the top hand. All of a sudden that comes back over. You can see, I mean, that's what happens there. He just hit it off the end of the bat. Cold weather, great weather to pitch in. He doesn't even want to swing the bat right now.
A fistful of bees there.
He's praying for ball 4. Especially as hard as Rodriguez throws.
About 44 degrees when we got underway here in Boston. Here's the 3-2. High fly ball center field. He hits this one pretty deep though. Williams backing up and on the edge of the warning track is there for the catch. On another day with not quite so much wind or cold for that matter, I might have sailed a whole lot deeper. So there are 2 down. And look at our game summary now here at Fenway Park, 7th inning. Wakefield has been very strong. No earned runs, 5 strikeouts. Mirabelli had the big blow, 2-run homer.
That was the big blow. That's what got everything going there in the bottom of the 2nd. Mike Mussina had gotten the first 2 guys out, nobody on. A little breaking ball got away from him. It made contact with the leg of Bill Miller, and on the next at bat, Mirabelli goes deep to give Wakefield that lead that he has more than protected.
2 men out. Kevin Millar stepping in. He has a 2-run single today. He has gone 1 for 2. Renteria, the new Red Sox shortstop, will follow after him. That is interesting too, that the Red Sox would go after a free agent shortstop. Theo Epstein acquiring the talented Renteria when they already had a guy who was outstanding at that position, I thought, in Orlando Cabrera, after they had traded Nomar Garciaparra, bringing in Cabrera from the Montreal Expos, and after kind of a rocky start, he caught fire, had some big hits for them.
All right, but I'm going to put you on the spot now.
Yeah, fire away.
If you could have either one of them, Cabrera or Renteria.
The guy playing short right now is the guy I would want, Edgar Renteria. Yeah.
That's exactly. Yeah. That's where they set their sights, and when they figured out they were able to get him, that's the direction they went. And he is going to be a terrific player. I love what Terry Francona said. We're going to give him a month, you know, just to get adjusted. We're not going to put any pressure on him. He had a huge hit in yesterday's ball game. Down by 2, 2 outs, top of the 9th, bases loaded, base hit to right center field, game tie. It got away from him, but you know what? He's starting to come around.
He is one of the best clutch hitters in baseball. That's what Red Sox fans who may not have followed him very closely in the National League in his days with Florida and then the St. Louis Cardinals, they may not be aware of how well he bears down, as you say, in the 9th inning of games, and has won so many games.
I've had several St. Louis Cardinals tell me if they had to have a guy get a base hit. I mean, even with the great Albert Pujols there, a lot of them told me that it would be Renteria that they wanted at home plate in that spot. I'll tell you right now, I'll take either one of those 2 guys.
Both pretty good. You really can't go wrong. Renteria has that reputation of being a clutch guy, and it is interesting though, philosophically, you have a position of strength and you get stronger at that position when you acquire an Edgar Renteria.
Dave, I think you'd agree, a guy too that gets stronger as the year goes on. I mean, we've seen people that run out of gas when they get into the postseason. Renteria is like Jeter. I mean, he gets better.
Nixon at first, swung on and missed, strike 3. Millar not happy with his effort there. And due up for the New York Yankees, trying to cut into the lead. A-Rod, Sheffield, and Matsui.
ESPN ESPN's Day Game. Brought to you by Propel Fitness Water. It's how Gatorade does water. New York Life, the company you keep. And the powerful new Volvo XC90 V8. Volvo for life.
We are back on the day when the Boston Red Sox at Fenway Park receive their championship rings. They have a 7-1 lead over the Yankees. Beautiful day here, although a little bit chilly. A couple of changes. As you see the long shadow being cast by David McCarty as he takes over at first base for Millar. And the new pitcher is the hard-throwing Matt Manti.
Just like you said, we are back. They, too, are hoping for a comeback of sorts from Matt Manti. Closer a few years ago with the Arizona Diamondbacks. In fact, he had 29 saves during the season just 2 years ago. Setup guy out there to try to help fill the void created by Scott Williamson when he left. Different type setup guy.
Alex Rodriguez taking a fastball outside, 95 miles an hour, popping the mitt.
That's exactly what he's all about. When they bring in Mike Timlin, they're bringing in a guy that's going to get a lot of ground balls. He's that nasty sinker, hard throwing type guy. This is a guy, let's say you need a strikeout. This is another option that if he's healthy, Terry Francona will have.
He can overpower a hitter. A-Rod a little late on that swing. Wakefield was outstanding today in his first Red Sox home opener in his 11-year stay in Boston. He went 7, giving up just 1 run, 5 hits, 110 pitches. And it was dancing immediately.
To both sides of the plate. I thought that was the real key. He mixed in an occasional effective fastball. Look at that breaking ball.
Oh, 78. He goes from 94 to 78.
You just talk about strikeouts. I mean, there's one there. And it's really been a day filled of strikeouts. Tim Wakefield, not a guy normally to get a lot of them. But take a look at the movement on his knuckleball today. Watch this ball. Look at it go back into A-Rod. Look at that one go down and away. The movement completely different. Now he turns it over in the other direction. There he paints the inside corner with a fastball. There he almost hits Derek Jeter in the back foot. But just really, really a lot of late movement and almost at will when Tim Wakefield wanted it.
Look, Gary Sheffield, A-Rod, Jeter, Matsui, Giambi, Williams. It's a lineup filled with all-star hitters, but Wakefield really locked up their bats today. Sheffield 2 out of 2 with a couple of singles and a walk.
Matt Manti, I know what you're up to. You reared back for a little bit more on that one and then turned and looked at the radar gun in center field to see that it said 96.
Oh, 95 there.
Well, and that's when he knows he can do that. That's when he knows he can get a good fastball by a good fastball hitter. A-Rod got caught looking on that last breaking ball.
He's still looking.
Well, there's going to be a lot of people that get caught looking as well as Manti is going right now.
Sheffield, of course, a great fastball hitter. Got a piece of that one. He muscled up to 96 miles an hour, and this at bat started with Manti feeding Sheffield a breaking ball. He's ahead 1-2 on the New York Yankee #3 hitter.
Watching him the last couple of years, though, that's the pitch that he's made his mistakes on. He's been that breaking ball. He's found too much of the plate with it.
2-2. Hideki Matsui coming up next. Sheffield last year with 121 RBIs his first year with the Yankees. He became the first player in Major League history to have 100 RBI seasons with 5 different teams: the Padres, Marlins, Dodgers, Braves, and the Yankees. 3-2. And he did that with an injured shoulder.
Tried to get away from that surgery. I was actually with him on the Nike baseball trip over the winter. He was trying to get out of having that surgery, but just couldn't get away from it. Had it performed on his left shoulder.
Strike 3. 94 on the black, although Sheffield thought it was outside. That's the second looking strikeout in a row by Matt Manti. Time for a studio update. Here's Dave Rebson.
Thank you, Dave. Here with Steve Phillips as well. Home opener for the Brewers facing the Pirates in Russell. Brandon going deep twice.
Brandon's been an all-or-nothing guy. He loves that low ball, and he got it twice today. 2 home runs.
Pirates continue to struggle mightily offensively. 18 runs total in 7 games. They lose this one 6-2.
The Pirates gave up a lot of offense over the last couple of years. Brian Giles left and went to San Diego, and then over the winter, Jason Kendall, their longtime catcher, now with the Oakland A's.
Here's Hideki Matsui. A quiet day so far for Godzilla. He is 0 for 3. A strikeout, a ground out, and a flyout. Bases empty here in the 8th inning. The Red Sox up 7-1. And that missed inside. Randy Johnson, Hideki Matsui's new teammate, may have changed Matsui's nickname from Godzilla to Psycho. Randy said that he asked Matsui's interpreter how to say awesome in Japanese. He wanted to pay Hideki a compliment. Well, the answer was Psycho, which is pronounced Psycho, but it's actually spelled in Japanese S-A-I-K-O. Randy said later, I hope he wasn't kidding with me because I called him Psycho after the game, and I meant to call him something else.
I'll tell you what I would call him. I don't know many Japanese words, but one of them I believe is pronounced Abunai, which means danger. And when he gets a good fastball to hit, he is a dangerous hitter.
Matsui's first hit today sends up Tino Martinez, who is 0 for 3. This part of the Yankee order hasn't done a whole lot this afternoon. Tino 0 for 3. Posada is hitless. Right after him, so is Giambi. The 5, 6, and 7 part of Joe Torre's order. Two down as Manti fires and misses up high. Couple of strikeouts, and they are collective. The 4 through 7, 1 for 12.
Does that not remind you of games 4, 5, 6, and 7? The heart of the New York Yankee order back in the ALCS a year ago.
Yeah, and in games 1, 2, and 3, they tore the cover off the ball against the Red Sox, in particular Matsui and Sheffield. But after that, they were shut down by the Boston staff, and that turned the tide in that series. Martinez pops that one up over third base into left. Manny Ramirez losing his cap. I don't know how it stays on anyway most of the time. And he makes the catch. No runs a hit. One man left. Boston sailing along on a championship day. They lead it 7-1.
Dave Revs and Steve Phillips in the studio. White Sox close out the Tribe. Shinjo Takatsu gets Aaron Boone to end it.
Mr. Zero, Boone missed all last year, most of last year. That slider away, it's tough to hit.
2-1. White Sox win it now 5-2 on the young season, Dave.
Thank you, Dave. Bottom half of the 8th inning. Boston up 7-1 on their rivals, the New York Yankees. ESPN day game. Great to have you with us here from Fenway Park in Boston. The Red Sox getting their championship rings. Here's a man who owns a few. Mike Stanton now back with the New York Yankees. He was a Met last year, and he'll be facing Edgar Renteria in a moment.
37-year-old left-hander. Joe Torre has a saying that I've always liked. I mean, he had it back when I played for him in '94 with the Cardinals. You know how he trusts a guy. You know, and I just think this is one of those guys, because of the success they've had together, that with the lead, Joe Torre would trust.
And it brings him in down 6 here today, because the Red Sox have had a number of big innings. 2 runs in the second, 2 in the third, and 3 more in the fourth. And that's a fair ball down the line by Renteria. It's going to roll deep into the corner, and he has a walk-in double. It's his first hit at home at Fenway Park as a member of the Red Sox.
And the Red Sox fans have an opportunity to say hello to their new shortstop. Down the line, into the corner, Matsui doing everything he can to keep it from being more than just a double. But that's going to be a familiar sight. These fans on their feet applauding Edgar Renteria.
So everything coming up red today for Boston. After a marvelous ring ceremony and on-field introductions, the Red Sox have gone out and taken a healthy lead against their rivals. And don't you know, it is still a great rivalry. I think the American League Championship Series and the stunning comeback by Boston last October just heightened it. Hard to believe it could get any hotter, but it did after that. And there are many New Englanders who believe that a World Series would have been just fine last year, but beating the Yankees, that was something really special. Into the gap, and that's going to settle down for a hit. Here comes Renteria in to score. Bill Miller picks up an RBI double of his own. That makes it 8-1.
Here they come. You got a big lead. You don't have to worry about getting him over. All you got to do now is just swing the bat. And that's what Bill Miller can do from both sides of the plate. He fills the gap out there in left center field. Trade places with Edgar Renteria. And Dave, just to kind of add to that thought you had about the comeback against the Yankees, I thought almost equally impressive was the fact that they kept that momentum going into the World Series. They didn't say, okay, we beat the Yankees, you know, wow, we did it, finally we got over the hump. No, there was one more step to take before the ceremonies they had before the game today could have happened.
Mirabelli has a 2-run homer today. He's also struck out twice. He's 1 for 3. I talked to many Red Sox fans after the great comeback against New York. I think, you know, there may be room to argue, but the greatest comeback in the history of sports, you'll get no argument here in these parts in New England. Many fans who felt it had to happen that way. Ground ball to third. A-Rod with the stop. He made a key error earlier.
You know, and he didn't look good on that ball.
No, he did not.
I don't know if it's become kind of a confidence thing or what it is, but his footwork is just not near as comfortable as what he looked like when he did it at shortstop.
The fans, a standing ovation for A-Rod for making a play on a routine ground ball.
Yeah, watch this. I mean, this is routine right now. He almost falls down. Look at that. I mean, he almost lost his balance just trying to make sure that the baseball ended up in his glove. There's some things going on there right now that we're not used to seeing out of A-Rod. This is a guy that can dominate the game of baseball in every phase, whether it be throwing, running, hitting with power, hitting for everything. It's all there. But right now, there's a little bit of tension in every ground ball hit to him.
Bellhorn with a swing and a miss. Fans having a lot of fun with Alex Rodriguez, the former American League MVP. Now you can do that on the day you get your championship rings, I guess. But beware, you're talking about a great hitter. That sounded a lot like Darryl, didn't it? Darryl Strawberry used to be serenaded like that. Two-time Gold Glove Award winner at shortstop. But as Sutton mentions, it's still a work in progress sometimes at third for Alex. Runner at second. Fastball is on the inside edge against Bellhorn, and it's 2-2.
No question in the brawl. I mean, that started a lot of this, and these fans' attention towards everything that A-Rod does. But right there with us was what he did in the postseason when he reached out, and I mean, I don't even think he knows why he did that. But when he tried to slap the ball out of the hand of Bronson Arroyo.
I think what was worse, and that was bad enough because that was against the rules. What was worse was his reaction right after that.
Like, what did I do?
Yeah, like, what did I do? I mean, I didn't do anything wrong. I thought that reflected poorly on Alex.
And you and I were both sitting here. I mean, when I saw it, I thought, oh, here's his shot. I mean, if he was so mad earlier that he wanted to charge Bronson, I mean, there's a shot. He's going to be right there at the bag the same time you get there. We have seen guys take that pitcher, you know, on into the outfield and beyond. Right here it is. Take a look at this. There he is. There he is. That's a guy you want. Now you get, I mean, instead of running out of the baseline, I mean, if you wanted to charge him earlier in the year, instead of doing that, just go get him. I mean, Joe Torre did everything he could do. He had to come out and try to protect his player. But even Joe Torre, I'm sure off the record, would admit that he knew what A-Rod did. He wasn't going to get away with it.
Well, here's Jay Payton hitting for Johnny Damon at the top of the order. With a runner at second and 2 out for Boston. They lead it 8-1. Another run in for the Red Sox here in the bottom of the 8th.
I like what Francona is doing here. This has nothing to do with Johnny Damon not being able to hit against left-handers. Johnny Damon has 6 stitches in his left elbow colliding with the wall in Toronto. But you know, you get guys in spring training like Jay Payton that get a lot of at-bats. I mean, they're ready to go when the season starts, and you just sit them down. well, you can't really expect him to go up there and provide a pinch hit for you, or maybe go in and play defense late in the game if you don't keep him active. And that's all Terry Francona is doing right here. He's going to get Jay Payton in at bat here, knowing that they've got an off day tomorrow. And hey, in case I need him in a couple of days, this should help him.
Payton so far 3 out of 9 on the young season with a couple of RBIs. Loops that one back off into the crowd. A sellout here, as you might guess, at Fenway. Toughest ticket in town. It certainly was all of last year when they sold out every single home game. About 34,000 here to see the Yankees and Red Sox in Boston's home opener.
We talked about Brian Cashman, the guys he brought over, guys that have had success in the World Series against the Yankees. How about all the former San Diego Padres that General Manager Theo Epstein has brought over? Look at this.
Racing out Jeter, the over-the-shoulder catch for out number 3. A couple of doubles and another run in for Boston. 8-1 your score as we go to the 9th inning.
Coming up on SportsCenter, how the Yanks tried to take the sting out of Boston's rings. Tiger and Chris DeMarco take us inside an unforgettable Masters finish. Plus, will the 49ers use the draft's top pick, or will they make a deal?
Dave Rivs and Steve Phillips with you, updating you on the M's and the Royals. Adrian Beltre going deep for Seattle.
Well, the Mariners didn't get much of that last year. They needed power, and Beltre delivers. Not many better than hitting the high ball than Adrian Beltre.
Ichiro 1 for 4 in this game, guys. Hit streak now at 20 games. The Mariners lead at 3-0.
Thank you, guys. 8-1 Boston, and we have come to the top half of the 9th inning on a very special and historic day here at Fenway Park. Jay Payton, a new center fielder for Terry Francona, and a new pitcher as well. The closer Keith Folk in to get some work. Sut coming off an absolutely brilliant postseason run.
After all the problems that Boston had the year before he came over here in that closer's role, remember that bullpen by committee? Well, in 03, that created 21 blown saves. How do you fill that void? Well, you go out and get statistically the best closer available. That's what they got.
He was terrific in every single postseason series. Against Anaheim in the win over the Angels, he worked a couple of games, 3 innings, gave up no runs. In the league championship series against the Yankees, a 0.00 ERA in 5 games.
Then he struggled in the World Series, though.
The World Series, he worked in every game, closed it out in the end, and did not surrender more than 1 run.
Yeah, but he gave up a run.
Oh, 180 ERA. He actually had an earned run average. 1
run he gave up in the whole postseason. 11 appearances, 14 innings, 1 run.
Posada flies that one into the sunshine, and right, that is certainly the Sun Field as we have approached evening here in Boston. 1 man out in the 9th. Hey, SportsCenter is coming your way next. A banner day at Fenway. It certainly was that. Changing his stripes and draft day steals. With Jay Harris and Dan Patrick coming your way right here on ESPN.
You know, another thing I got to check out this morning in the latest edition of ESPN the magazine, the outtakes by our good buddy Dan Patrick. An interesting interview with Khalil Green, the outstanding young shortstop for those San Diego Padres.
Oh, he's a young star in the making. Rookie last year, but certainly didn't play like it. Look at this defensive alignment on Jason Giambi. This cost him a hit his last time at bat, because you see where Bellhorn is, second baseman in short right field. It's exactly where Giambi hit it. Jason 0 for 3. Checked his swing, fouled it back, and it's 0-2.
He's trying. I mean, he's getting better at it. Don Mattingly saying before the game in batting practice at going to the opposite field. Remember him with Oakland, driving all those balls out to all fields, not just being the dead pull guy. Well, I think that's what the short porch at Yankee Stadium and then the 399 mark in left center has done to Jason.
That one right in on the hands. He fought it off foul. Well, it's been a glorious day for the Red Sox. Not so much for the Yankees of Don Mattingly and Joe Torre, but Tim Wakefield was outstanding in 7 innings, allowing just 5 hits and 1 run.
He was sitting there just like that in Game 3, partner.
Yes, he was.
And all of a sudden, as Terry Francona says, he raised his hand. Saw everything getting away from the Red Sox, and reliever after reliever coming in, continuing to struggle. Terry Francona said it was the ultimate as far as a teammate is concerned. had his spikes on, as he always does, went down to the bullpen, and he gave him 3 innings, tried to finish the game.
Swing and a miss on the off-speed pitch, and Giambi strikes out. 2 away in the Yankee ninth.
Power pitcher, but he does it with an off-speed pitch. That's that good changeup. Look at how long it stayed in the strike zone, and then right at the end, it gets down underneath the big swing of Jason Giambi.
Really buries that deep into his palm when he cuts loose that changeup. It's a terrific pitch for him.
That way he can give you that great arm speed, the exact same release point and speed that he does on his fastball, but it just doesn't come out that same.
Sports Center coming up next as soon as we finish up, and the Yankees are 1 out away from that happening on the short end of an 8-1 score. The Red Sox getting their championship rings today. And as fine a ceremony of that sort as you will ever see, not just honoring the present-day Red Sox who are on last year's Red Sox team, but Red Sox legends of years past who never won a world championship, like Johnny Pesky and Carl Yastrzemski and Louis Tiant and Dennis Eckersley.
And you saying that, the first guy that comes to mind, you got to feel good for Billy Buckner today, don't you?
He got a big hand here today, even though he was not on site. The fans gave him a big ovation when his name was posted up on the board. It was a magical day in Fenway in so many ways.
You know what they want? Folk taking a little extra time here. They're on their feet. It's been an absolutely perfect day, and just to kind of blow out that last candle, they want to see a strikeout.
2 down, 1 ball, 2 strikes, the count on Bernie Williams. Up high, 2-2. Remember, it was Keith Folk who was on the mound that October night in St. Louis when they swept the Cardinals. And it was a ground ball by then Cardinal Edgar Renteria right back to Folk that ended 86 years of misery and frustration for Boston. Popped him up, and it's Edgar Renteria underneath it to make the catch for the final out. It all comes full circle, doesn't it?
It really has, and this team has gained a lot of confidence in that full circle. The Boston Red Sox a year ago proved that they can win.
Today they got their rings. Sports Center is coming your way next. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Again, your final score, the Red Sox 8, the Yankees 1. For Rick Sutcliffe and our entire crew, this is Dave O'Brien thanking you so much for being with us on a very special day here in Boston. Sports Center is next.